Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We've made it halfway through our first week. I think that's a noteworthy accomplishment. Today is Wednesday. We have got a packed show for you. Later on this 2-hour broadcast, you are going to hear from one of the best linemen ever to play in the NFL, certainly one of the best to ever do it in Cleveland. Joe Thomas will join the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. That's coming up in the second hour of today's show.
And I'm going to tell you, coming up later in this show, we got a living legend coming on the sticks, coming on the screen, The Miz. I'm going to let you know why he's a lock to win Hell in the Cell.
Wow, a lock to win it.
Lock.
And look, we're going to talk about the drought is over here in Cleveland. Cleveland Cavaliers are about to be very relevant here coming up this year, and we're going to talk about that later on in this show.
Guys, what the hell happened at the Guardians game last night?
I know.
Jimenez, stop sliding into first base. This is ridiculous. I can't. It's 2022. How do we not know? And by the way, Austin Hedges is the worst baseball player in America.
Ooh, wow, that's
I
hard.
am better than him.
That's
I
hard.
should be playing catcher.
Okay, no, you're not. No,
yes.
you're not.
Yes, I am.
Because if you were starting at catcher for the Guardians, we'd have 10 pass balls a game.
Incorrect.
It's so much harder than it looks, Bull.
I've played baseball. You're not the only one who's played baseball
Yeah,
around
but
here.
Bull, you haven't played high-level professional baseball.
I played high school. I led my team as a sophomore in stolen bases.
You're right. You're
Get
better
over
than
it,
Austin
Jay.
Hedges. What am I thinking? Well,
Austin
I want
Hedges
to pop
sucks.
up. I want to pop up our producer Mike Cam because we finally have a good background for him. The producer Mike, the first 2 days of the show, he had this white block background.
Yeah.
And some of the nicknames that people were coming up with, one of them was Prison Mike. You look professional now, bro.
Hey, hold on. That camera is crisp, too.
No, I know it.
Like, where do you get that
He
camera
made sure
from?
that
Clean.
his camera was
His
the
stuff
best
is
one in the
good.
building.
He now
I
looks
can't
like
help that I look good.
Mike, you now look like
my
a
fault.
Well, we didn't say that, but I mean, we're talking about the background
now
right
he
now.
looks like a kid taking a picture in the in front of the Wrigley Field wall in April before the ivy comes out.
Mike, you look great.
Thank
you look
you.
great. Keep us on track today. Keep us on time. Go ahead.
And we are still taking applications on YouTube and Twitter for nicknames. So
Okay.
let us know.
Have
We're
we
in the chat.
tentatively settled on tenders? Because chicken tenders is his favorite ballpark food, which
Which
we
is
thought
absurd.
was a joke.
Yeah.
Tenders is so funny.
yeah.
Tenders is good. So it's tenders for now until we get something better.
I still like Prison Mike even without the background because I take a lot of joy in imagining Mike spending time in prison. It's a funny thought.
It is a
so
funny
I
thought.
think we might have to stick with that anyway.
Hey, my Twitter handle has to change. It literally has
Yes.
to change. So
Yeah, what is this
the
CAGS
competition.
nonsense?
It was my last TV station. So if we get a great nickname, I will change my Twitter handle
All right.
to said
Okay,
nickname.
then.
All right,
So
so
it's on the chat.
the gauntlet
Up
has
to the
been
chat.
thrown down to the audience. Viewers, help us out. Come up with something good. Prison Mike, we like. Tenders, we love, but it's not set in stone. By the way, Brad Sellers, everybody,
the
welcome
building.
to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
In the building.
You're going to be here
home.
every Monday and
Yeah,
Friday.
a couple days delayed this week, but I'm in the building. I'll give you some hot takes today, Jay. You guys had a great 2 days, and now I'm in the building to join in with some good takes here. We're going to have some fun today.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts on the Cavs. I think more specifically, we're going to talk about Evan Mobley. I think you're the perfect man to do that. And by the way, your nickname is the Mayor, right? I mean,
Yes.
So
But
we
he
can
doesn't
call
look
you the
that
Mayor.
tall sitting. Look at it. Get the camera on the two of us together. Like right now, it looks like he's maybe like an inch
Stand
or
up,
two
Bull.
taller than me.
Stand up, Bull. Go
No,
ahead.
no,
Bull. stand
I
up.
like being
Bull.
only an inch or two shorter.
Stand up.
No, we got to stand up together.
Brad
Come on,
Sellers,
Brad. Here we
stand
go.
up.
We're going to hold hands. Brad, we're going to hold hands. We got to hold
Get
hands.
me
Here we
out
go.
of here.
What happened?
Not
Now we're holding
You
hands.
see this thing here?
It's hands across America.
Sit down, Bull.
There we go.
Sit down, Bull.
Yes, now, see? Now I'm back to being not that much shorter.
But I need to give a trade secret. Bull said, if I'm sitting next to Sellers, I need a pillow. Show the audience.
I got my pillow. That's nice. I'm a sensitive guy. I got a
It's
yellow
pretty.
pillow.
It's pretty too.
Yeah, home sweet home.
It's pretty and it matches your shirt.
I'm so new to TV. I'm still saying radio. I don't even know. I'm like, what camera do I hold it to? This one?
All right,
not
guys,
sure.
let's dive in. Man, the Guardians game last night. I think we were robbed of real drama when the last play of the game was overturned by the umpires. So if you didn't watch it, it was 4-1. The Guardians had two runners on. It's a bang-bang play at first base, and Andres Jimenez decides to slide head first. Mike, what do we have in the way of elements here? Do we have sound full?
No sound, but we do have some pictures.
All right, go ahead and throw the
slide.
pictures up. I watched the game. I know you guys did too.
Yeah.
I never saw an angle that overturned the call on the field. So the call on the field was safe.
Yeah.
And we're going to debate that, but we're also going to debate whether or not you slide head first. You can't really tell there's too much dirt. Because the call on the field was safe, I didn't see a shot that definitively showed Abreu's foot getting to the bag before
The umps
Jimenez
blew it,
touched
Jay.
it. I thought he was safe.
The umps blew it, and coming off the night before, where the Guardians came back, all of a sudden now you got bases loaded. Hopefully they would have pitched hit
The
for
go-ahead
Hedges.
run is at home plate.
That's right.
In Little League, tie goes to the runner.
It's
It
exactly.
goes to the runner.
And in
Goes to the runner.
in Major League
And here,
Baseball,
your
the call
vision-
can't be overturned.
Your vision can't be working well.
It's
Because
amazing, guys.
If you look, even slow motion,
Yeah.
you see this thing was done.
That's what I thought.
It's
Now, we didn't get to see all the angles.
Yeah.
So New York gets to look at all the Cleveland broadcast angles as well as the Chicago broadcast angles. It's possible that Chicago had a better angle that showed
No.
that he was definitively out. I didn't see it.
I don't think they did, Jay, because I was watching the highlight. After the game, I went back and watched the highlights on MLB, and they go back and forth between Chicago
use both
and Cleveland.
broadcasts. And you never saw an angle?
I never saw an angle. You didn't see that he was definitively safe either, but the call was safe.
Yeah.
It should have stayed safe. Here's the problem with replay in general through all sports. It's particularly bad in football. The reason we started replay, in my mind, was to get the egregiously bad calls correct, right? And what it's become is now we're going fraction by fraction. If it's too close to call in like 10 seconds, then just keep the call. That's just how it should be.
Yeah,
And
it should be obvious that
it's
they missed
obvious.
it. Yeah.
If it's obvious missed call, you change it.
And
If
even,
not,
I think even Rick Manning was like, oh no, he's safe. Even after they had rolled
I
in
thought
three
he was
hits,
safe.
because you
Yeah.
couldn't. What you couldn't tell from the angles we saw was
No.
when Abreu's foot got to
Right.
the bag.
No way to know.
But I never saw the bag
Jay,
move.
you
Nope.
didn't have to. The math. It was just basic math. You can see here's judging distance and time. He was safe, and if it was so close to call, you knew he was safe. And to Bull's point here, let me just say this: we've gotten ridiculous with the replays. It's
too much.
I think so, too.
Listen. So every call now has to be challenged. Like there has to be some
Well,
a
there's
margin
rules
of error
that
here.
limit them, but
the problem is you get the coaches are crying, the players are crying.
Yeah.
Everybody wants this thing extra. That's taken away from the game, and it's slowing down the game.
yes,
really. It
get
really is
the
slowing down
obvious
game.
calls right
The
and fix
problem
it.
with this situation is this. He slid into first base. I think they called him out just because he slid into
Well,
first
listen,
base.
listen.
It's like, no, you don't slide into first base. It was egregious. We all know when we start growing up in Little League,
Yeah.
guess what? You got to run through the bases. The
I
fastest
tell my
way to
kids
do it
that
now,
all the
I
time.
think they got him out of there just for that.
guys, that's baseball 101. It is baseball 101. When you leave your feet, you are slowing down.
Always.
When you're running through the bag, you maintain your speed.
Yep.
Just use those two basic elements of physics. I still cannot figure out how in 2022 we still have guys sliding into first base. The only time you ever slide into first is if it's to avoid a tag.
Right.
So the throw is going to pull the first baseman off the bag.
Right.
And he's going to have to tag you. You might have to get down in that instance so he
Right.
can't reach you in time.
I think it's
Other
fake hustle.
than that,
So
it's
what-
fake
so-
hustle.
so-
Slide.
It's fake hustle. It's like trying to save a basketball. You
Yeah,
like,
it's
come on,
fake.
that's fake hustle.
He
bro.
said
You
it's
know,
fake hustle.
You weren't,
so
you
if,
weren't
so if
trying to
I
get
was
that.
sliding to first base, I'd have a tactical advantage.
Yeah, but
I would.
But if you were to run through it, you're going to maintain your
I
speed.
hear
I know
you.
you're long,
You
Yeah.
can
but
get
your
me.
strides are long
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Not to mention, guys, when you slide head first, period, you increase your risk of injury by
Yeah,
a lot.
there's no
In
doubt.
addition to that,
There's no
Rick
doubt.
Manning, I remember Rick Manning, it was, I think, his second season in the league, slid headfirst into second base, broke a vertebrae in his back,
Yeah.
and was shelved for his career. And if you look at, I think his rookie year, he hit like 285. He was runner-up to Freddie Lynn to Rookie of the Year. His career track was skyrocketing. The Cleveland organization thought he was going to be a star. And he was always a good player, but he never lived up to his early potential.
Right.
Because I thought after he broke his back, he was never quite the same guy. Kenny Lofton slid headfirst in a
Right.
big playoff series years ago, ended up being unable to play the rest of the series because he injured himself sliding headfirst into first base. Just don't do
yes,
it.
and now we know. Like it used to just be, you thought it was faster, but now we have the numbers to prove it. Statcast, the way they've been, I can't remember exactly what year Statcast they started using it, but they're able to figure it out to the 100th of a second. you slow up. Yes, your hand is in front of your foot, but when you slide, you're slowing yourself up not only because you have to slide, but your body hits the ground. In theory, if you had a perfect slide, maybe it would be close, but nobody ever has a perfect slide.
So if we just talk like pure sprinting mechanics.
Yeah.
I said, I happen to,
tape.
my son is an expert on this. He spent 4 years training at the Olympic Training Center as a long jumper. They put you through every imaginable test you can go through. You study your sprint mechanics inch by inch, frame by frame. So he's now the track and field jumps coach at Rutgers, and he coaches sprint mechanic technology.
Yeah.
I asked him this morning, faster to slide or run through it? And he said, and this is where I knew he was going to go, if you look at it frame by frame, whenever someone is sliding into first, they'll have to change their stride pattern coming into first.
Chop it.
Most likely, they'll prepare to launch themselves low to the ground at the bag, which is exactly what happened last night. This process begins 2 to 3 steps prior to your takeoff. So you're starting to slow down 3 steps before you leave the ground because your body is already lowering your hips and getting into position to slide. He goes on to say, your feet will land ahead of their hips, which is true. If you look at it linearly, your feet are always going to get further out than your hips will when you land on the ground. You'll be straining with your toe first and heel first. That gets a little too complicated, which all indicates slowing down. It is definitely quicker to reach first base with maximal velocity by running through the bag.
There's no excuse for getting caught up in the moment. You're a professional athlete. You got to do your job to the best of your ability. He cost him. Now, in the end, I think he was safe, but he cost him. You can't do it, and we see players do it all the time. It's a huge mistake.
What I hated was we were robbed of the drama.
Yes.
Fake hustle.
I wanted, and Austin Hedges, by the way, would not have hit in that
They would have had to
position.
pinch hit for him.
Maley would have come in to pinch hit.
But he stinks too.
Well, no, he's hitting like 285. I know he's got a
but he's
smaller-
not good. He's a
but do
journeyman.
you want Maley there or do you
I don't want
Hedges?
either of them. They both suck. They have to have a real
Okay,
hitter.
it doesn't have to be Maley either. It could be just a pinch hitter. And
Yeah, I
then
would
if
have
the game
pinch hit
goes
somebody
extra
else,
innings,
but-
you can put Maley in for Hedges.
I know we got to move on to the Browns, but
We
we
do.
do have to have a longer conversation at some point about catcher because, again,
It's their weakness.
most catchers are good defensively. I don't care how good he's not the greatest defensive catcher in the history of baseball.
He threw 2
and he had a
balls
bad
into-
game yesterday.
He had 2
yes.
balls sail into center
He
field.
stinks. He's
Yeah.
always stunk. He's 30. He's never been able to hit.
Yeah. All right. That's a little harsh, but I think we can do better at that position. Bull ain't pulling any punches.
No,
He stinks. Not my fault.
He's swinging with a
If I
fences
stunk
today.
at my job like he stinks at his job, I wouldn't be on this show right
we
now.
are talking about the catcher.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, catcher's the second most important position on the field.
Go trade for Wilson
Defensively, it's the
Contreras.
first. All right, let's talk about the Browns. Interesting report yesterday from Ian Rappaport that the Browns actually made a decent offer to try to sign Jarvis Landry, who, guys, I think somehow, some way thinks he's the Jarvis Landry of 4 years ago. Let's face it, none of us are who we were 4 years ago.
No.
Particularly when you're playing a position in the NFL that's speed-based. Can we put the Rappaport quote up, guys? So Ian was saying yesterday, I know the Browns offered Landry a pretty nice one-year deal that would have been a pay cut, but he would have been able to come back for a nice sum. I'm hearing a number that was somewhere around $10 million. Guys, I don't think he's going to get $10 million now.
No chance.
Listen, don't play yourself, Jarvis. Listen, if you're looking at me, listen, I got the pipeline. I'm the assistant GM. Don't play yourself, Jarvis. $10 million, you might get 4 and some change now. Listen, you might get 4 and some change. I didn't even think they was going to give you $10 million. But when you talk about what you able to do as far as we need vertical threats, we got underneath guys. We got guys that can move around and catch these little 5-yard button hooks. They're not Jarvis, but here's the thing. They like David Bell. They like he's younger. He's about the same amount of athleticism.
We don't know if he's any good, though, G. We don't know if he can play in the NFL.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Jarvis has a track record, but not for no doggone team.
He overplayed his hand.
Well, here's the problem. So, as a professional player, Jarvis was looking to make $16 million a year, right?
That's what he wants.
Fact. So now he's going to take a pay cut, and it's really not about the $10 million, Bull. It's about 16 I was thinking I was going to get. Now I have to. Now
He's
I'm
got to
thinking-
readjust his
now,
mind.
See, I think that's it, Bull.
There have been many players that have gone out on a limb and should have taken the money.
He fired his agent, guys.
and
Yeah.
should have taken the money and
Fired
end up
his
not
agent.
taking the money. And then the 10's looking great,
Right.
6 months from now, right?
Because he had the worst season of his career.
Well, by the way, I don't think that offer's on the table today
Probably
from the Browns.
not.
or he
Probably
would
not.
sign.
No.
Probably not.
Well, they went out in the draft and they addressed that
That's
need.
right.
And
That's
so
right.
I always think that when guys are free agents, I know that Clowney wanted to hold out and see what happened, where the dust settled. Same with Jarvis, but take what you can get.
Well,
I mean, your window of earning power in the NFL is very, very small.
Well, we live in the real world, so you know.
we
Here's
do,
what's
but
happening, guys.
10 is
though.
a solid
It's
number.
the- it's-
But
it's-
10 million is a great number. It's a
But
great number.
here's what's happening, guys. He has seen over the last 2 years some wide receivers that haven't accomplished what he's accomplished in his career get paid $10+ million, and he's like, well, what the hell? I'm better than those guys. The problem is he's older. He's coming off his worst year. He had injury issues for the first time in his career, and it's a young man's sport, right? Wide receiver, in a way, is becoming like running back. It's like, I want you for a few years, and then
That's a
I'm
good
moving
point.
on.
Look what the Browns only gave up a 5th and 6th round pick to get Amari Cooper.
Right.
That's
Brady,
unbelievable.
Who's a top 20 wide
Bull's-
receiver?
To Bull's point, Isaiah Thomas, when I was playing for the Pistons, gave me some information, knowledge some years ago. He said, I remember to this day, he said, never worry about what's in the next man's locker.
Talk to him.
Get yourself in
Talk
trouble.
to him.
You're right.
They-
Get yourself
when-
in
But
trouble.
Jarvis is. I think
And that's
he
the
is.
problem.
When
6
they-
months from now, he's going to be thinking
When
different.
they called me for this show, they say, G. Bush, we want you to be on the show. Like, this what we going to do. I said, I don't know what Jay making, and I don't know what he making. My answer is a yes. They pay me in Jordans and free sandwiches at lunch.
Kick them
Talk about
Jordans up.
that.
Kick them Jordans
Yeah,
up.
yeah, listen, I
Yeah,
just
took
took
him out of the
that's how you
box.
get
out the
paid.
box. Listen, as long as you keep coming with these Jordans, I'm in the building.
and a watch deal. You
Yeah, I got a watch
too.
deal. Shout out to your boy, man.
His watch can change a tire and open a beer bottle.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like
There
that.
it is. There it is.
So, guys, let's take a look at some
Yeah.
numbers. So this is where the Browns are at receiver. We know that Amari Cooper is going to come in and he's going to be your A-plus
Yeah.
receiver. But outside of that, guys, look at the receiving numbers from last year.
Yeah.
Peoples-Jones, we're still waiting for him to be the guy we thought he was going to be, and he might still develop, but Njoku was one of your top receivers last year.
Right.
So
There's no consistency outside of Cooper. You can't trust any of the other guys.
Well, you can't say that because you had a guy under center that was giving you nothing, right? So I don't know who these guys are.
Yeah,
Well,
bro.
I
I
let me
like
see-
that.
Listen,
let me
I like
see
Donovan
what hap-
Peoples-Jones.
Let me see what happens. Well,
Yeah.
he's a Michigan man. But
I like him. But remember, he's a sixth-round pick.
Let us see what happens when you have a real person
Yeah.
under center, right? So there's no more excuse now.
Well-
so if you're a production guy, give me production.
You know I'm going to hit you with this a
Come
lot.
on.
When you say that they had no one under center and now they have a real guy under center,
Yeah.
I'm always going to throw out that their career winning percentage is almost identical.
I can show you
Well,
percentages
Jay,
throughout the wazoo,
Jay,
right?
Jay,
Let me get the NBA encyclopedia. I'll show you some.
They have-
It's the eye test. It's the eye test.
We all know they're better
That's
at
how we
quarterback.
judge quarterbacks. Is games won.
Again, to be fair, Baker wasn't nothing, but he's not Deshaun Watson.
we
not nothing.
So when I say
but
nothing,
I know what you mean.
He's an average guy.
He's an average guy.
Stop telling me he's a top guy. He's
Well,
not. He's just an average guy.
He's an average guy.
That's all he is.
The reason I point that out is because I think the trash that we're throwing on Baker to say he's nothing and he's
Here,
not.
let me
he
tell you,
changed
I'm
the
gonna
way
stop you. I'm
we.
gonna stop you there. I was in Ohio Stadium the day he stuck that flag in the ground.
Oh, listen, I hated that.
I still remember
He's
that.
still
Listen,
angry.
you know what?
So
He's
you're
not only
talking
that,
to the wrong guy.
I didn't
You
like
talk-
when they
You're
drafted
talking
him.
to the wrong
Yeah.
guy.
Because I said he was a punk, and that's burned into his DNA. That's
Right.
who he is.
Yes.
But
And you were right.
But after watching him for a couple of years
Yeah.
and watching him do what he did in his last healthy season, and by the way, I'm just going to bring up a point here. Everybody wants to say we're so far away, we can't win with this guy. How did he play against the Bengals in Cincinnati when both teams were at full strength, and the Bengals are the bar in the AFC as we talk?
Well, he got the mojo against the Bengals. Baker kills the
Oh,
Bengals. I don't know.
but
He kills them. He kills the Bengals.
Well, but how did
Okay.
he do every other game?
Listen,
Well,
he
watch
played
the other
injured
game.
all season long.
Oh, yeah,
And
we
sit
know,
down.
Jay.
Sit
We know
down.
because he told us every 5 minutes that he was
If
injured.
you're
Was he injured?
If you're injured,
Yes.
sit down.
But
If
he
you-
was
here,
injured for the
here.
Bengal game, and he
Bull,
played well. So-
Bull,
Yeah.
the rule is if you don't tell me you're injured, if you hit the
Yeah.
floor in a uniform,
Yeah.
that means you can play today.
Nobody made
right?
more injuries
I agree
than
with that.
Deshaun
Don't
Baker.
come back to me and tell
And
me
I think
that
he should have been the
injured.
adult in the room. But more importantly, I thought the coaching staff should have said, "You're not the same guy. We all can see
Well, you
it.
can see that.
We're
Yeah.
going to sit you down."
Right.
So I think Baker was wrong by trying to play through it. But I also think
The
a lot of the blame goes on the adult in the room. It's supposed to be the
guys,
coach.
The team's going to shut him
At this
down.
point, it's irrelevant. Because it's over, right?
Well-
But the point is, at wide receiver, you've got Amari Cooper, who's a very reliable guy, right?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
I don't think, as good as he is, I still don't think he's as good as he should be. And I think there's another level to his game. And I hope he can get there with Deshaun Watson. And I think he might. We'll see. Although he did have a really good quarterback in Dak Prescott, although I think Deshaun Watson's better than Dak Prescott. But here's the thing. There's nobody I trust in that's to be the number 2. I do think Donovan Peoples-Jones still has a lot of potential. David Njoku as a pure athlete is fantastic.
Do you want Landry back?
Yes, I definitely want Landry,
price?
but I don't think it's going to happen.
At what price?
At this point, if they offered him $8 million, I think he'd take it.
I do too.
We're missing something here.
Yeah.
I love the emotion. I love it.
You're down on Jarvis right now.
No. I'm not down on Jarvis. I'm up on Deshaun Watson. You can give me 4 or 5 dudes from Medina.
But I don't want to.
I
want the best players I can get around him.
Here's the thing. You got to understand that you're not going to get that $10 million. If it takes $16 million to get Clowney, I got to give him half that.
You know what? Hey, if Jarvis don't take the money, go get Emmanuel Sanders. He's out there. He's a veteran slot guy, number 2 type of guy.
I think what we're missing is, the point we're missing is this. Deshaun Watson is a top 5 bona fide quarterback. We talking Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady-ish, but he can move. You could put me 4 JV dudes out there, and I guarantee Donovan Peoples-Jones makes a move. Schwartz is going to look better. Demetric Felton going to look better. They're going to have screen game, rocket screen, streaks, all kind of stuff.
I agree with you.
We're going to be good.
I agree, but wouldn't you still rather have a better talent at your second wide? But I agree with you. Yes.
So let's get to Jarvis. It's not just the talent. He's good in the locker room.
Yes.
He has the respect of the peers.
Sure.
Right?
He does, no doubt.
There's a dollar value to that, right?
Yeah.
Because you can bring a jerk in here and it'd be a jerk, right?
And even when the Browns released him, they bent over backwards, thanking him for changing the culture.
Right.
He's a good locker room guy, and I think that has to factor into it. I think if the Browns still would come to as high as $8 million, Jarvis would be crazy not to take it because clearly no one's throwing bags
you have to let
no at him right
now.
now.
You have to let this settle.
All right,
you're going to settle down for
I want to keep with the Browns. I want to pivot to something that I saw yesterday. It was concerning. Okay. Daryl Ryder is the beat reporter for the Browns.
Friend of mine.
And he's a friend of yours. He worked with you in radio. So he tweeted this out yesterday. The new adult in the room, which is a throwback dig at Baker when the report came out from ESPN that the Browns wanted an adult in the room. Deshaun Watson has blocked Daryl Ryder, who is a beat reporter for the Browns.
For a long time.
He's been there forever, and it was concerning when I saw it because we said yesterday, I think the worst combination that an NFL quarterback can have is rabbit ears and thin skin. And Baker definitely had rabbit ears and thin skin.
No doubt.
When I saw this from Watson, the first thing I thought was bad look. Just a bad look. I wish Daryl wouldn't have tweeted that. I think he inserted himself in the story when he tweeted that, and I don't think that was necessary. Okay, he blocked you. Deal with it. A lot of people block you on Twitter. What do we make of the fact that our new franchise guaranteed quarterback guy, who's already got a cloud over his head, has blocked one of the biggest beat writers covering this football team?
Guys, Daryl's a friend of mine, and I don't have a problem that he tweeted it. He shouldn't care about it, but I don't have a problem they tweeted it. I had fun with the fact that Trevor Bauer blocked me in the past, and Baker blocked me. I've been blocked by Baker for years. I think it's funny. I don't care that they block me or not. I don't block any athletes ever. I have blocked fans who said bleep you or whatever. And then one day, like a few months ago, I was like, I'm unblocking everybody. I'm never blocking anybody again because I don't care. I'm just going to.
You have nobody blocked right now on Twitter?
I got like the fake Adam the Bull accounts that say really personal. I got like 10 people blocked at this point. But that's it. And I'm not blocking anybody because I've changed my mind frame on it. I laugh at the ridiculous comments. But here's the thing. I don't love that Deshaun blocked him. Like, there's no reason. Daryl didn't really say anything. I spoke to Daryl about it. He's like, I don't really know why he blocked me. And
does it concern you at all?
A little bit, because this was a big problem with Baker. Baker was like constantly worried about what the media was saying. And I get it. Deshaun Watson, maybe, everybody's talking about the off-the-field stuff. He's got to understand. That's part of the conversation. People want to know that. He's got to deal with that in this situation.
Brad, you're the only pro athlete here, so you have a different perspective.
So first of all, Daryl shouldn't be worried about it, right? This is the culture today. People blocking you for anything nowadays, right? So why do you block? What does it do again?
Block.
So do you think? Do you agree with or disagree with Daryl? Daryl putting it out there. Daryl made it a story.
What Daryl should have done, right, work through the channels to get to Deshaun. Like, okay, come on, we're not starting like this.
Yeah,
right?
you want to facilitate relationships. You don't want to end them.
We don't have to go to that from the beginning, right?
I like
and here, negative things come both ways, right? And a player, what he'll do is, you get the negative thing, he's just going to turn it off. Like, I don't need to hear from you, right?
And he's going to shut off the spigot of
Right.
information to
Exactly.
you. If you're a beat reporter, the last thing you want to have is a bad relationship with the most important person on the team you're covering. He'll never give an interview to Daryl, ever.
You know how many players have smoothed our relationship with reporters over time just by talking to them, right? But
Hey,
see,
guys, I
if
tried
you take
to.
these positions, then
By the way,
you get nowhere.
I reached out when Trevor Bauer first blocked me on Twitter years ago. A few months later, I reached out. I didn't. My producer at the time reached out to the Guardian and said, "Hey, Adam would like to talk with Trevor off the air, clear the air." Because he had said some things about me on Twitter. I had gone at him on the air, and I was like, "This is silly. Let me try to smooth things out with him." And he was unwilling.
I'll point out one huge difference between your situation and Daryl's.
Right, I'm not a beat reporter.
You're an opinion guy.
Right, it doesn't matter.
And quite frankly, having worked with some pretty big name opinion guys, Skip really would say this: I don't want a relationship with these guys.
Exactly.
I'm throwing darts at these guys. If I know them and like them, it's harder for me to do my job. Stephen A was different.
Yes.
Stephen A also breaks news. He covers the NBA like a beat reporter because that was his job for years. So Stephen A would facilitate those relationships. But with Daryl, that's his bread and butter.
To your
And I
point-
like Daryl. I think Daryl's a great reporter. I met him personally. I think he's a great guy. I really like Daryl.
I think we're also doing something right here that we haven't really taken into consideration. How do we know who runs his social media account?
I said
that's
that to you
true.
yesterday.
No, that's true.
I mean, how many people?
That might be the case.
Absolutely.
For me, I wouldn't even. If I'm Deshaun Watson's lawyer, I would tell him, you don't have a Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Deshaun Watson needs to stay away from all of that.
Like he should not even be on those.
That's a good point, and we don't know that Deshaun is the one that hit block.
Right. If he
We don't know
did,
that.
I don't want to see. Like, Deshaun's got to come in here with an open mind. Everybody else has got to come in with an open mind. And I think I don't think it's good for him to block people and start getting into fights with the media and start worrying about it. You can't do it. But you're right. We don't know. By the way, to your point, Jay, real quick, when Pat Shurmur was the coach here with the Browns, one day they called our station because we had been killing them on the air.
Rightfully so.
And yes, rightfully so. And Pat Shurmur asked to meet with Dustin and I.
Yeah.
And we went into his office and had a meeting with him. And it was a smart thing for him to do.
Sure.
Because he was hoping maybe we wouldn't kill him as much. Now, I'm the type of person that,
still
I
do
liked
it.
him,
You went in
and it was a
deeper.
nice experience.
But you
I
could
still
still
went
kill
in
him.
deeper. I can still do it anyway.
Well, you still got to
but
do your job.
That's right. But I felt a tiny bit bad when I would rip him.
No, I know.
I still did it, but I felt a tiny bit bad because he was so nice to me.
I've been there. I want to wrap it up with this point that you said that we don't know for sure that he has control of his Twitter.
Right.
I know a lot of pro athletes that don't. They have a
Sure.
social media manager and they put everything out, and they do so in many instances with no approval.
Yeah.
There's no checks. They trust this person implicitly, and they say, you know my character, you know my brand, don't tweet anything that's off brand or out of my character. However, I will say this. The reason he's still responsible for everything that happens on his social media page, whether it's blocking someone or a tweet, the reason he is still responsible is because his name is on it. So even if he's hired someone to do that work for him, he still has to take ownership of everything on his platform. So whether it was him that blocked him or not, it still comes back to him.
Which is why you want to work through the back
Hey,
channels.
come on,
That's
Daryl.
why.
Hey, let's get with Deshaun Watson. Let's get this thing taken care of.
Yeah,
Daryl's a good dude.
He is a good dude. But I think for Daryl's sake, that's a relationship you
wants to
cannot
have that
harpoon that
relationship.
right off the bat. All right, we're going to take our first break. We're pumped because you know that G. Bush brings his People's Champion belt to the set every day.
Yes.
We're about to be joined by the one, the only, The Miz. Parma native, Cleveland guy through and through, loves his Cleveland sports. We're going to talk to him about a myriad of topics, including Cleveland sports. Also, we've got a lot on today's show. The one thing I'm really looking forward to is Brad's take on Evan Mobley. A very, very similar sized guy. He's an up-and-coming superstar. We're going to ask, is this guy the building block? Can he be a Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Could he score on him right now? Could you score on Mobley right now?
Without question.
Yeah! Hell yeah!
The Ultimate Cleveland Sports
him to the
Show is
hole.
back in 2 minutes. Keep it here. Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I'm a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. My favorite all-time Cleveland sports moment, you're not going to believe this, it was Rajay Davis's home run in Game 7 that tied the score.
My favorite Cleveland sports moment would have to be
the Kyrie Irving 2016 shot. It's the only time that I've ever cried over any sporting event.
And my ultimate Cleveland memory is when the Cavs won the championship and the day of the parade. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life.
What matters most to me is family. Sometimes you don't realize how important it is until you're away from them.
What matters most to Jay? His family. He is a big family man. What matters most to me? My family, my safety, your safety.
I think the thing that most impresses me about Betsy is her versatility. Give her any assignment that involves going in front of a television camera, and she's going to knock it out of the park.
What's new with Betsy and Jay? Weekdays at 5 on 3. Recognize that feeling? It is the feeling of being together, enjoying the company of a familiar face, and sharing moments that matter. To you, to me, to us. What matters to some could impact all of us, especially in a place like Northeast Ohio. Here, stories are shared, from east to west to south. Stories of perseverance, of family, of love. If a story brings us together, it's what matters most.
Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I am a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. I have carried my fandom every city I've ever lived in. People have always asked me, why are you so diehard about Cleveland? It's because I'm from here. And we know how much our teams mean to us. Most of us know that because of our parents. In my case, my father was just a huge Cleveland sports fan. It was really part of our life. It was woven into everything we did. And it was our connection throughout his life. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. One of the things that we're going to do for you is bring on guests that have huge ties to Cleveland, even if they're national names. We want to bring them in. We want to hear from them. And today, we're bringing in a kid from Parma who somehow, some way, has become this sort of iconic brand in not just professional wrestling, but he's crossed over and he does a reality TV show and has a huge following there. From Normandy High School, we welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, The Miz. What's up, my man?
Yes, I was the captain of the cross-country and baseball team. Played every sport, senior editor of the yearbook. I was president of student government, but who's counting, right? Graduated.
Hey, Miz, I'm told that there's like the shrine over there at Normandy High School in your honor. Is that true?
Well, there should be. I feel like I've done enough where I should have a shrine saying, hey, everyone at Normandy High School, if you work hard enough and sacrifice everything, this could be you. This amount of success. Like, if you have a dream, you can live it. You can be it. Because you went to Normandy High School.
Such a good message. Such a good message.
I got to know, though, this is the most important question. Food. That's all I care about. When you come back to town, Parma, where do you get your pierogies? What's the go-to pierogi spot for you when you're back home?
So I don't come back to Cleveland to get pierogies. I also don't have pink flamingos in my front yard, and I don't wear
Those pierogies, they're the best.
When I come back to Cleveland, there's two spots I always have to hit. One is Corleone's.
Nice.
It's literally right by where I used to grow up. I used to go there when I was a child with my dad, and it's incredible food. I love it to death. And then also Town Hall is another place I really enjoy frequenting whenever I come to Cleveland.
Shout out Bobby George. That's my favorite place, too. I love Town Hall.
Miz, we got to get to. They asking you all the dumb questions. Let's see, Bush. Let's get to the brass tacks here. Hell in a Cell. Now, listen, I'm a big wrestling fan. Could you explain to the guys out there the difference between this match and some of the other ones, like a Royal Rumble? How is Hell in a Cell different? And who is your biggest competition that you're looking at going into this match?
So Hell in a Cell is a cage match, but it's enclosed. So you cannot get out of the cage. So in a cage match, the idea of the story behind a cage match is one guy keeps running from the other. One guy keeps running from the other. Every time they're in the ring, they're in a match, the guy runs out and the other guy can't get to him. So the idea is let's put him in a cage match so he can't run anymore. But the idea of a cage match is you have to climb the cage to get out and come down. But in a Hell in a Cell, it's a cell. You are literally stuck in there with the person that you are with. And sometimes most of the time, virtually every time that you're in a Hell in a Cell, you don't like the opponent that you're going up against, and you're stuck in there. So if you're scared, even for a moment, there's no way out. The only way out is to beat your opponent. And so that's what makes the Hell in a Cell so special. And it's going to be on June 5th on the Peacock Network, and you're definitely not going to want to miss it.
If we did a Hell in the Cell.
Yeah. Oh, I'm taking you guys out.
No, G. Bush is winning.
No,
we know that.
no
I mean,
chance.
He's the biggest. No disrespect to Brad.
That's
but
why I got the belt.
You've got
They didn't
experience.
give
I'm
me the
playing
belt.
dirty. I'm going to kick him right
Did
in the
anybody
nose.
here wrestle in high
Vegas
school?
doesn't
No.
always win, my friend. I
That's
mean,
right,
I'm
Miz.
not
There you go.
Superstar here.
Haven't you
Who
seen?
wrestled, though?
Remember when
Hulk
Hulk?
WWE superstar and working my way up through the ranks? Like, I wasn't the biggest, and I knew I wasn't going to be the biggest. I'm 6'1", 215 pounds. It's all about what's up here and how to beat a person that is bigger than you.
See?
That's smart.
I've mastered, if you will, because I'm a 2-time Grand Slam champion.
There you
not
go.
the bragger.
Hell yeah, you are.
So, Biz, let me ask you a question. So, coming from Normandy, I got to ask you one local question first. So, you got 3 high schools in Parma, and they're talking about combining all 3 high schools. So, Normandy would become part of one bigger Parma, whatever school you want to call it. You in favor of that, being from, I know you have a separate identity being at Normandy?
So I'm a little indifferent. So one thing is with sports, like whenever we played Menor, like they had like 3,000 kids in their school.
Right.
And so they were always very, very good at sports. And we only had like 1,000 maybe. And if you put Parma, Normandy, and Valley Forge, and you put all their best players on one team, guess what? They're going to be a dominant force in sports. But here's the problem. Kids like me, I wasn't the best basketball player. I wasn't the best at every sport, but I loved playing sports. Right. And it gave me an opportunity, a chance to play those sports. And so I'm a little indifferent because I want everyone to have their chance to be able to play a sport if they want to play a sport. But I also look at it and go, wow, they could be a powerhouse with as many great players as they have, and they're in Parma.
Miz, how would you explain your rise to stardom? You mentioned you ran cross country in high school. Now, I don't want to diss cross country runners, but most of the paths to stardom in your world were wrestlers or were these big football players. You readily admit your path was cross country, bro. How did you turn a kid from Parma to the Miz?
You still get cross country, but I dare you to try to run 5K and tell me how you're feeling at the end. I guarantee,
it's brutal.
You're not feeling too well. It takes a lot of heart and dedication to
but
run that
But it's not the traditional path. You got to admit.
And so cross country was to get me in shape and keep me in shape throughout the school year. So basketball and baseball were kind of my sports. I never really wrestled in school. Never really liked it, to be honest. I loved professional wrestling. I loved the entertainment aspect, the fact that there's an audience that you could play with. I love the athleticism. I love everything there is to love about WWE. And so, no, I wasn't in amateur wrestling at all. I had to learn the art of professional wrestling, which is a completely different atmosphere. And we've had many amateur wrestlers. We've had many MMA stars. People come into WWE and not succeed because it is a very different sport than anything that you've ever seen or done before.
Miz, you talk about loving wrestling as a kid. I grew up in the 70s and early 80s. I remember in the early 80s, like I remember going to Madison Square Garden on it would be on like Monday nights, and the first match was always the unpredictable Johnny Rods and SD Special Delivery Jones. I don't even know if you remember those guys. Might be so long ago. The Junkyard Dog and all these. But the first time I ever saw Andre the Giant in person, it was the most amazing experience I've ever had at a sporting event in my life. And then when Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant at WrestleMania, that was like the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my life. What was your moment watching wrestling as a kid that you were like, oh my God, I have to do this?
It was Hogan Rock for me. And then anything Ultimate Warrior. When I was a kid, Ultimate Warrior was everything. I'd paint my face, put streamers on my arms, run around the house, cutting phones like the Ultimate Warrior. And then when I saw Hogan Rock, it was just like two entities going in. Like The Rock was my favorite. and Hogan being there as well, and it was like, wow, like this is an incredible moment in time that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And that's what I hope as a WWE superstar I'm able to give children, moments that they'll take away, whether it's being at the arena in Cleveland, and a kid's there for the first time with their family and they see a moment. That's what I'm trying to give them. Now, usually I'm ripping on Cleveland when I'm in Cleveland because I like to be the bad guy. But it's always a good time coming back home and having all my family and friends and even my friends from high school still support me and they're still at all my matches. It's pretty incredible.
Hey, Miz, so you have a beautiful family. How do you feel about and your kids? I mean, it all plays out well on TV. How do you feel when your wife climbs into the ring? How do you feel?
Oh, man. We actually have a story about that on Ms. and Mrs. this season, which comes out, the third season comes out June 6th on the USA Network right after Monday Night Raw. So it's at 11 p.m. You're not going to want to miss it because, there are some heartfelt, but it's also very funny. But yes, Maurice is back in the ring. And, I'm a little nervous, but I'm confident in her abilities because she's the strongest, most independent woman I've ever met in my entire life. Like, when she puts her mind to something, she is able to do it, and she is far more talented in the ring than I am. She just has that physical attribute that is just so athletically gifted, but there's some things that she wants to do this year in the ring that she's never done that are highly dangerous. And there's a reason why we tell people not to try what we do at home. It's because it's a very dangerous sport, and there's an immense amount of danger that we go through each and every time we're in the ring. So yeah, it does make you nervous, as a father and as her as a mother, going in the ring. But, this is what we love. And you want to teach your children to go after what you love and to, do whatever it takes to do well at it. See, that's what we've been doing. Fortunately, we've been very safe and we've been able to, do WWE and be WWE superstars and not get seriously injured.
Yeah, cause that's our section in the trailer. Because my coworkers love the show, right? And they watch and they fill me in on everything. But they said there's a section in the trailer.
I love that they have to fill you in on everything, and then you're not watching it. And I appreciate your
time. Here. Let's go. Let's get on the show here.
They've sucked me in, Miz.
He's in now. He's in now.
Because I'm like Bull. I go back to professional wrestling with Bobo Brazil,
Bob Backlund,
dating yourself.
Yeah,
Bruno Sammartino.
When it was coming on Channel 43, way back in the day here, right?
Lucha Libre.
Miz, let's get to these Browns. I know Miz want to talk about these Browns. Let's play a little word association. I like this game. Baker Mayfield. What's the first thing when I say Baker Mayfield? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Getting traded. It's kind of like at the or honestly getting released. I don't know. Like, I thought Baker was the guy. Like, when we drafted him, I loved his moxie, I loved his character, I loved everything about him. And then we had that year where we went to the playoffs. We won a playoff game. We almost went to. Honestly, it felt like we were going to the Super Bowl. We almost had it, Kansas City. And then the next year he gets injured, and all of a sudden you start hearing stories, and these aren't good stories. And then when your brass, the higher ups go after a superstar quarterback when you thought you had your superstar quarterback, and you're going, okay, something's up. Like, Kevin Stefanski is a very good coach, and a coach that, I feel like for the first time in a long time, I feel like is a coach that you can trust, that he is going to do right by the Browns and try to do everything he can and have the knowledge to do everything he can to get us to the promised land, to get us to a Super Bowl. And if Stefanski, as well as Barry, as well as Haslam, both Haslams are saying, look, Baker's not our guy, it's kind of a wake-up call. And then Jarvis, kind of going, and Odell, the whole thing that happened with him, you're like, wait a second. And then, I really didn't see any tweets going, hey, they're doing you wrong, Baker. And I'm like, whenever there's not that, something's going on.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, wait a second, like something's going on there, and I'm not in the inner mix. I don't know. I'm just assuming, and that's all I can do is assume. And so something's going on where, Baker is not feeling like the guy anymore. And I don't know if he lost the locker room or if the coaches or what it was. But, man, I mean, I think he goes somewhere else, and I think he's going to be pretty amazing. And the reason I think he's going to be pretty amazing is because whenever Baker has a chip on his shoulder, time has told us that he's dominant.
Yeah.
So anywhere but the AFC North.
Yeah, I'm with you. Don't go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Don't go to
I
Pittsburgh.
don't even care if he goes to Pittsburgh. He's not that good. He's okay. It doesn't matter.
If I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm going, put me in Pittsburgh. I dare you.
Fine. Then we'll kick his ass there. Miz,
I agree. I think the Browns are going to be absolutely a dominant force this year. I think they have everything in place. I think it's finding the chemistry between the quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. I think the defense is already pretty dominant. We added some pieces that I think we needed in the draft, which I was fortunate enough to be able to say a draft, like to be able to do a draft pick. It's pretty incredible. I was supposed to be 44, our 44th pick. And they traded me. I'm sitting there getting ready to go out, and I'm getting ready, and they're like, "Yeah, the Browns just traded down, so you got to wait." So nice. I had to wait like 2 hours to do my pick. It was an absolute honor. It made me feel like I was part of the team, and I feel like as a Cleveland, being from Cleveland, you always feel like you're part of the Cleveland Browns.
No doubt. Yeah.
And man, I just really want to see them succeed.
Hey, Miz, did you see? I don't know if you saw the video, but yesterday there was a video of Nick Chubb squatting 650 pounds or whatever the heck it was.
675.
Did you see it? What did you think? And could you do it yourself?
I saw it. I can't do it myself, nor would I even try to do it. My knees would probably buckle. I wouldn't be able to walk for about a year. But hey, whenever your running back is literally in the weight room and you see all the players surrounding him and the support around him, and then he goes and does that makes me feel like there's a good camaraderie in that locker room and in that weight room. And people are training and building each other up and trying to make sure that they're ready for success when August comes around.
Miz, we've got a minute. So in the minute, I want you to tell us your greatest Cleveland sports memory as a fan, and then your greatest disappointment as a fan, because we've all had a lot of those. Go ahead.
I mean, greatest I think was when I was I think I was in 5th grade, and we were on the school bus singing "Bernie, Bernie." Oh,
absolutely.
And every kid was at the top of their lungs singing that song. Like I never forget it. Like I still remember how cold it was that day on the school bus, but nobody cared because that's what we were singing. Biggest disappointment are just that 0-win season was really, really hard on, I think, not only me, but I think Cleveland as a city. Whenever your team is known as one of the only teams to ever not have a winning season, it makes you go, man, like, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah.
And now, all that stuff, all those losses, I think taught us how to be winners and taught us everything we were doing wrong. And now I think we have a winning mentality and a winning franchise. And I think we have all the pieces in place. And I think this is our year to go to the Super Bowl.
It is time.
And I say that every year.
Jay, before you let him go.
Yeah,
before you let him go, real quick. If this were the Hell in the Cell, us four and you, who are you trying to beat first? Like, who are you getting out of the way just by looking at us? Who are you trying to knock out first?
The closest to me would be getting hit with a skull-crushing finale.
Okay.
And then you guys would all fall in line with the skull-crushing finales. Hit you 1, 2, 3, stay by. It'd be over in about, 3, 6, 9, 12 seconds. That's how long this
Wow.
12 seconds.
Man, I'm just going to run around the ring for 12 seconds. Hey, Miz, thanks for taking time with us.
Thanks, buddy.
When you're back in Cleveland, we're going to give you an invitation to come in and join us in studio. We'll have even more fun having you here.
It'd be an absolute honor. Thank you guys very much.
Absolutely. And I quickly want to throw out the reminder, Miz and Mrs., another season picked up by USA Network. It all begins June 6th. Watch it. You'll see a completely different side of the Miz. Miz, thanks. We appreciate it. Great seeing you. Boy, there's a guy, when you talk about success stories, there is a perfect example of a guy who knew what he wanted to do, developed a plan, worked very hard to get there, and is living his dream now because he never lost sight of it, and he's worked his tail off to get there.
What a life.
And he's earned it. Okay, right now, we always have told you on the program that we want to hear what you're saying, and we want to acknowledge that we're listening to you. So without further ado, it is time for... And we've got a frozen tape. What it's time for is what the internet is saying.
Dun, 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 dun. And the internet is undefeated as always. Let's get to Sam Dye. He's talking about Deshaun Watson and blocking someone. He says blocking someone on social media is no big deal. Social media is not real life in all caps. I agree. Social media is not real life.
He's right. But here's the truth. If it's a guy we're rooting for and we like him, we're going to excuse everything he does. Yeah. And vice versa. That's true.
But we shouldn't.
We shouldn't.
But in real life, if you're in a room and someone's talking trash about you, what do you do?
Block them.
You leave. Yeah. That's the equivalent of blocking
or you
someone.
punch him in the face.
Well, you can do that, but then you can talk to the cops.
Yeah, right.
David Lee comes out with the comment. He says maybe he can ask Elon Musk to speak to Deshaun Watson on his behalf. You know, Elon Musk is just unblocking everybody now. Shout out to him. Todd Thompson, videography, he says, listen, I love your content, but woo, that lighting, ooh, you boys.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Hey, Todd, we
hear you. We're working on it.
We got you. See, this is how you know we really read them. I read all the comments. I read the comments religiously.
Well, you know what my comeback to the dark lighting is? We're in a man cave. It's supposed to be dark.
Yeah,
right. But it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder than it looks to make it look great.
We're working on it. The audio wasn't good the first day.
We fixed it. Much better. Yeah, and we got our best folks on it, and I guarantee you, I promise you, it's going to get better. What else?
So let's keep going. Let's see. We got a lot of tweets on this. Miz, it says Miz has a solid mic now. His mic was trash earlier, but the Miz's lighting is great.
That's funny.
Shout out to you guys. Let's see. Real ones remember Miz from the 2001's The Real World Season 10.
That's how it started.
Hey, by the way, shout out to Miz. He was on the Real World Challenge. He was on the payroll. He was on there like All-Stars. He was on there every single week.
Because he moves the meter.
Yes.
He makes people watch.
Yes. He was really working with that. Let's see. Let's keep going here. Let's see if we'll find a couple more. I find it strange that after the OBJ release, players on both sides of the ball for the Browns were going out of their way to congratulate and praise him. Yeah. Baker has surgery and does his podcast crickets.
Yeah.
Miz
brought that up.
Miz is right on it. I mean, as a player, that tells you everything.
Yes.
I mean, you would have people rally to you.
Wyatt Teller's wife is the only one that stands up.
They would rally to you.
The silence was deafening.
And if they don't rally to you, there's a problem.
Yeah, and that's really what kind of put me in the camp of he's lost these guys, because the silence says all you need to know. If those guys were in love with Baker and wanted to go to war with him, they would have taken that public, and none of the players were making a point to rally behind Baker. Mike, we're going to next. What do you want to do here? Do you want to break?
No, we're going good bet, bad bet.
Oh, good bet, bad bet. That's right. Yeah. So this is an opportunity for us to take Mike's camera again because we get to see his beautiful new background. Well, somebody said cell block Mike. I think prison Mike is a little harsh because it really, I don't know that you want your Twitter handle to be prison Mike. No. But I mean, that can be bad. But I do like cell block Mike. I think that has a little ring to it.
Hey, you know why I like Tinders? Because Mike can still legitimately be on Tinder. Like, he could literally have. Do you have a Tinder profile?
No comment.
Silly question. Of course he does. He's new to Cleveland. He's looking for ladies.
I don't know if that's still a thing. I got a ball there. Match.com.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Sorry.
I hope so. You're a married man.
I had nothing to do with it. They put that in my ear. You see this earpiece? They told me to say that.
Somebody said nuggets too. A playoff chicken tenders. They said we could call them nuggets.
I like that.
But that's got a whole different connotation to it too.
So we still got some room for.
We got some room.
We do.
It's a work in progress.
We got some room.
All right. Good bet, bad bet. Set the table. How did we do yesterday? What are the standings like, and what are our gains today?
Yeah, let's pull up the standings. That is 43 here, Steve.
Let's get that.
Here's the stinger. But yesterday, Mike Polk went 3-0.
That's absurd.
The day.
Yeah.
And so far on the year, the Bull and G. Bush are both 4-2.
Look at me.
Jay, 2-3.
I'm 2-4.
2-4.
I'm 2-4. I'm hitting on 33%. I'm broke. That's why I don't
Yeah.
gamble, by the way. Anybody that look,
call.
to each their own. But if you want to lose money, just set it on fire. Don't gamble it because you're not going to win.
This is why they give me the belt. You see, your boy came
We're
out
tied.
of the field.
We're tied. What are you talking about?
I don't even gamble.
Polk is the champion right now.
Hey, listen, he's with me. He sits next to me. I'm taking his credit.
What are the games today? What are we doing?
We're going to make these quick, rapid fire, starting with G. First game. Under 8.5 runs in the Guardians-White Sox game today. Good bet, bad bet.
It's a bad bet right here.
You're taking the over.
Over. People's hitting the rock now. Let's go.
All right. That's
Jay.
mine,
That's
but
Jay.
it doesn't matter because I also think it's a bad bet. I think they're going to go over.
So, okay, we got Jay.
All right,
bad.
so you're bad
These
too.
may be out of order.
Yeah.
We may have some technical issues on the order.
That's
but
okay.
let's
Hey,
go
we're
around the
new.
order. Just keep cutting,
We're
Steve.
rolling
Keep
with the
cutting.
punches. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, Bull.
Yeah, it's a bad bet because last time I checked, Aaron Savali was pitching today.
Yeah.
Aaron Savali's been awful.
Yeah.
He's had about 3 quality starts since last June.
I know, and it's really
It
perplexing.
may be time for him to go back to the minors.
Yeah, that's harsh, but
Hey, Paul DeYoung, 5 years ago, when finished
told
second
you they
rookie of the
couldn't
year,
do rapid
he got
fire.
sent to the minors yesterday by the Cardinals.
it happens.
Baseball, they can't do
Savali
rapid
has
fire.
been horrible. If he gets smoked again tonight, I'm sending his ass
Well,
back
it
to
is
Columbus.
getaway day. It's an afternoon game, and typically those runs and getaway day games are lower because the teams want to get on the
Right,
plane
sure.
and get out of town, and sometimes they're not focused. Brad, do you think that's a good bet or bad bet?
I said it was a good bet. I said it was
Okay.
a good bet, but
Yeah.
I don't think that the chance of them going over that
Okay.
is going to be large. So I'm gonna run with that one.
All right, Tender, what's our next one?
Game 2, Celtics, 5.5-point favorites at home, 2-2 series. Good bet to take the Celtics. G.
Oh, that's a good bet. Good bet. I said bad bet
G
right
said
here?
bad bet.
Gee, you
Well,
don't
I'm
even know
saying
your
it's
own
a bad
bets.
bet.
Change your mind,
Will
bro.
you pull it together over there?
Listen, he was talking to me when I was taking my sleeping pills. I don't know. I'm gonna go with bad bet then. I'm
Oh, if you think it's a good bet, change it. You could change it.
No, I'm changing that. I'm gonna put it
Yeah.
on the paper right there.
Yeah, it's bad bet for me too. I think that the series is over. I think that Milwaukee's just going to kick it in and go. So I'm saying bad bet.
Oh, I'm going. Let me tell you something. I'm going good bet. The Celtics are taking care of business here. Why are you guys writing off the Celtics?
I just don't think they're going to win the series. I picked Milwaukee to win the series.
They're at
from jump.
home.
I'm sticking to
That's
it.
a
I know
huge
they are.
difference in this series when you're at home.
They gotta win by
the
6
others
points, though.
play better. They're going to kick their butt. Double-digit win for the Celtics
Wow.
tonight.
All right,
Brad?
and I came in the other way.
Yeah.
I said it was a bad bet.
Yeah.
because I just listen here.
You were around when the Celtics were good.
Yeah, that's when they had players.
They do have players. Jason Tatum's a star.
They okay now. It's not Mikhail Bird Paris. If you bring them back, then I'll maybe watch a little better.
Did
What's the
Mikal play
last
with a
game?
hanger? Was he actually wearing a hanger? He
No,
always
it just looked like it.
It was awkward.
What's the last game?
Golden State, 4-point favorites in Memphis, despite the fact no John Morant tonight. G.
Put my graphic up there so I know what
Let's
I
go.
picked.
He doesn't know.
Bad bet. Bad bet. Terrible trash bet. Listen. Let's go, man. We ready to go. That's a terrible bet. Golden
Wait a
State minus
second.
4.
You say the Celtics are done. They're healthy, but you're giving Memphis a shot without John Morant?
When
Come
you're
on.
in first place, it don't got to make sense.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
not first. We're tied.
I'm with G. Bush. I'm with G. Bush. Bad
I got
bet.
the tiebreaker.
Bad bet for me too. Bad bet. Bull?
It's a good bet. Golden State takes care. Memphis is done. They did play without John Morant
They
during
did.
the season.
Yeah.
But this ain't the season, and it's the Warriors. It's the playoffs. They're taking care of business.
Yeah, bring me up on this one because this I'm gonna say it's a bad bet.
I like being a lone
It is
dissenter.
a bad bet
Yeah,
here.
you're either gonna pull away or-
he's gonna be on the outside looking in.
Oh, no, you guys are done.
He'll be outside looking in.
You're picking Memphis? Their best players
Memphis
out.
is tough at home.
They
Memphis
Well, you
Barbecue.
picked
They're
against
tough.
Boston. They're tough
told
at
me the
home.
other
Yeah,
day.
Memphis
The Golden
Barbecue,
State
they're
was
tough.
supposed to be
They're tough
balling.
down there.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. We've got a lot to go on the second hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I'm pumped because Joe Thomas is going to join us later in the program.
Yeah.
We're going to catch up with him, what he's doing now, talk about the current state of the Browns, and we're also going to talk cheese. Why not? I mean, who knows Wisconsin and cheese better than the great Joe Thomas. Also, coming up when we come back, we're going to dive into Evan Mobley. Is he the building block that the Cavs can use to make a run at a championship? Can he do for Cleveland what Giannis did for Milwaukee? Is he that dude? Brad, I really want to get your thoughts on that. We'll dive into that when the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show comes right back.
Hey, it's Adam the Bull for the Ultimate Hey, it's Adam the Bull for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and I'll tell you what I think of when I think of Cleveland sports. It's that everybody loves it. I've been to other parts of the country, and there's people that love sports and people that don't care. But in Cleveland, everybody cares even a little bit from every walk of life, and that's what makes this city special. Whether it's football, baseball, or basketball, it doesn't matter. The people of Cleveland and Northeast Ohio love their teams like nowhere else in the country.
News you can trust should be news you can rely on.
And every night at 11 on What's Next, you can rely on us.
A new legal twist for Brown.
Today also marks the beginning of
We're here, and we are going to continue.
So the Guardians have to play almost. You can rely on us to help you go to bed better informed with stories that prepare you for tomorrow.
And with news that's relevant to your life. We'll make sure that you're ready for what's next.
Because being ready for tomorrow is what matters most.
We face challenges every day, some bigger than others, and we never know what's around the corner.
Through the highs and the lows, whatever we face it together. Each morning on Go, we are here with the facts, because what impacts you impacts all of us.
And understanding those facts helps us to make informed decisions for our families, our communities, and our future.
We are here for you every step of the way. Go, weekday mornings, 4:30 to 7 a.m.
Cleveland sports to me is bigger than anything. It's bigger than some people's marriages. They say the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. No. Dallas is not America's team. Cleveland is America's team. And sports in Cleveland is a religion. It's a way of life. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. Sports is a way for people in Cleveland to get together, and it's something that can't be replicated in Cleveland. Sports is a thing.
The Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is back. I got to say, G. Bush, I love that spot with you.
I do.
I love
like
it.
that.
I think it's well done. I love what you're saying there, and I happen to agree with you. Wherever I go in the United States, you'll find Cleveland Browns fans. They're everywhere.
Especially older fans.
Yeah, when Jim Brown was great and that era of fans, man, you go to
You have
Florida.
a lot, because when, in those days, for people that are like 60 and older especially, there wasn't a lot of sports on TV, but the Browns were on all over the country.
Because they were great.
And so you have fans in all parts of the country
That's so true.
that love the Browns.
And then sometimes that fandom is passed down generationally.
It runs down through generations. Yes,
and
it
so
does.
that's
Yes,
why
it
that
does.
fan
I grew
base
up,
is
there were a
big.
lot of people that I grew up with in New York that were Browns fans.
Sure.
I met a lot of Browns fans in New York.
A lot of female Brown fans too across the country. Cleveland fans. Like when we used to
Chicks
go hit
dig the Browns. There's no
hit-
doubt about that.
You hit the road, you see
Yeah.
that when the Browns hit the road.
Yeah.
Right? You
There's
really
more
do.
women that like sports in Cleveland, I bet, than any other city in
Well,
America.
yeah, we're up there for sure.
We are definitely up
When you
there.
go to the major metropolitan areas, it always shocks me when you'll see educated female callers calling in sports shows. That's when you know they are diehards. You'll see that in New York, Philly, Boston. You see a ton of that here. Women in Cleveland know sports, and they love sports. Let's take Mike's camera in the control room. Mike, leader in the clubhouse for me. I don't know where you are on this. Steve, do we know who sent that? Do we know who?
Mikey McNuggets?
Yeah, Mikey McNuggets is a great name. I love Mikey because he's got a youthful look. He doesn't look 29. He looks 15.
Yeah.
And also
15's generous. 15's generous.
Yeah, 15 is generous. When he shaves, he looks like he's in junior high.
Right.
Mikey McNuggets, if we can find out, because I want to credit whoever came up with that. I think that's pretty good.
That's pretty dope.
Do we like that more than Tenders?
I like that the best so far.
Okay, Mikey McNuggets it is.
It's the leader in the clubhouse. We're going to have a
poll question?
Twitter submission and poll by the end, a week from today. It's Wednesday.
Okay.
A week next Wednesday, we'll do a live unveiling, changing of the Twitter handle
Oh,
on
nice.
the UCSS
Nice.
show.
Ceremonial.
So we have a week.
All right.
Mikey McNuggets the leader right now. I don't hate it.
I think Tenders, Mikey McNuggets, and then I like Cell Block Mike. We can throw that on there, and we'll
That's
we'll
a good
see.
one.
We'll keep it open for a couple of days, and then we'll decide the final four.
Really quick, Mike, remember, do you want to tell them? There's a lot of people that are interested in the new mailbag, right? There's people that say, hey, how can I be on the show? How can I be part of it?
Right.
Yeah,
Let
so
them know what
please
they can do.
Email us at ucss@wkyc.com.
All right.
Hit us up on Twitter at AltCleSports or comment on the YouTube chat. We have Anthony to my right and Brianna to my left monitoring those for questions. We're taking Judge J questions, mailbag questions. Send us videos. Send us videos. We'll put it on air. I promise you. We'll put it
So
on
a
air.
video of them asking a
Yes.
question?
Yeah, that's
Because
gonna be great.
I want to be able
Yeah.
to see what these fans look like.
exactly.
If they're going to cap on us, we have to be able to cap on them.
Right.
Right? Let's see how their lighting
I'm going
is.
to call them all fat.
I need that gear too. Please bring your best gear. Don't be on here with no great T-shirt
Yeah.
looking crazy.
No,
I
you're
need
right.
that Cleveland gear.
Yeah.
Hey, G.
Steve,
Bush,
do we know
can we
who
see
came up with Mikey McNuggets?
It turns out, Jay, I was mistaken. That it was someone suggested Mikey McTenders, and in my mind, I turned it into Mikey.
Well, you know what? Steve is our
Steve's the winner there.
executive
Steve's the
producer.
winner.
So Steve, it only is fitting that you come
Yeah,
up with the nickname.
you get the credit
So
for
Steve
Mikey
would actually
McNuggets.
get credit for Mikey McNuggets.
That's actually
G.
better than Mikey McTenders.
It is. I like Mikey
that?
McNuggets.
One thing real quick. G, can we see your shoes?
Oh, let me.
He's
Yeah.
got the Jordans on.
I think
hey, if you want us to roast your shoes or your coworker who has terrible shoes,
So hold
we
on.
have
So
the
hold on.
fashionista
The
G
What
fact-
are those?
Listen, the fact that this the throwback, this the
I
cream,
love the color
This
scheme.
the creamsicle,
Yeah.
this
The
the
shoes,
97.
they wanna see your shoes,
No,
though.
I got to give them the whole fit. Give them the whole
Yeah,
fit.
we saw the soles
Don't-
earlier.
Don't march it. Not. Yeah, there
No,
we go.
I
gotta-
want to
yeah,
see
we-
the sides.
Ow, he's kicking me.
There we go.
Now
There we
Brad's
go.
injured. We got to put him on the IR.
See
I like
them,
those.
them OVOs right here,
What
man.
those set you back?
Hey, look, these right here, shout out to my guy. If you don't got the green check, don't be buying no fake J's, bro.
Right. What it cost you?
These is light, a little light, maybe $225.
All right.
$225.
Pricey, but worth it because they're iconic.
Yeah, now listen, that's all they pay. They pay me in Jordans. They just pull up and just give me the box.
Here, let me let you in a little secret. He used to ship them to the practice. We used to steal them from him.
From Michael?
Me and Pip. Me and Scott.
You knew when they were coming
My
in.
brother had some size 12s. You need some 12s. You need some Pip. Take these two boxes.
So hold
run
on.
them out
Did he
to the
even
car.
notice they were
No,
gone?
they were in the car by the time we got to the facility. We were gone.
So, hold
and then
on.
we sit there like this, bull.
So preface
I don't
this.
know what happened.
So
to
preface
you.
this, Brad. You was in the Bulls locker room.
Yeah, stealing shoes.
Mike used to get the shoes in. Nike used to come give them to him, right?
So they would ship them in boxes. So they
Yeah.
would be on the practice court. So we used to see the boxes. His name was on. We know what's in.
You're raiding them.
because he wore new shoes every day. We were like this. Now Pip had brothers. I had brothers. I was like,
It's
well,
not
I was like,
uncomfortable wearing
size
new shoes.
12.
You'll never see these.
I said, hold on.
Throw your gunboats up there. What
Listen.
size you rolling these days?
16s, Adidas.
Are
The
you
bounce,
kidding
alpha
me?
bounces. And
16, that's rough.
And I was like this. He's not gonna miss these shoes.
No.
I think you got
Pip
a
was like,
discount.
No, he's
Hold
not
on.
gonna miss those shoes.
So hold on. So we gotta ask.
Yeah.
If you pulled up on Mike
Yeah.
and you say, "Hey Mike, I need a couple pair of J's," you got that plug? If
Yeah.
it was for you,
Oh yeah, he gonna get them too.
Okay. For everybody,
that's
who would he
wonderful.
not get them for?
you know how many?
he's
It's
a
like
friend-
four
he's a
people.
friendly guy.
It's 4 or
He's a
5
nice
people in the
guy.
world that got that. They could call him up like,
Yeah.
"Yo, Mike,
He
let me
wasn't
get
getting
the-
them for Tony Kukoc.
Hey, we're going to talk Cavs and Evan Mobley. We're going to do that in a second. But as long as we're on the
Yeah.
fact that you were a teammate of Michael Jordan's,
Yeah.
can you give us a quick, like your favorite Michael Jordan story? I know you got 100 of them, and you've shared some of them with us. And
One
they're
that you can
funny.
actually share on
But
the
like,
air.
yeah, one that you can share on
Don't
the
get
air.
canceled. Don't get
but one that
canceled.
is kind of your go-to story about Jordan when you do the banquet circuit. What is your favorite story about Michael Jordan?
Well, I say one of the ones I can just think of that I can actually say on the air is this. He told me, we had a conversation. This was maybe about 10 years after we retired, right? And we were in at a charity event of our ex-teammate Trent Tucker's in Minneapolis, and he had just had got a divorce, basically, and.
Pretty public.
It was pretty public, and the split was public. And, you know, because I'm friends with both of them, right?
Sure.
Him and his wife, ex-wife, and the sum was about $180 million.
Right.
So the event was in a casino, right? And so I pulled him to the side. I said, "Let me talk to you for a second," because I saw the number in the paper, and I was stunned at the number.
That's
right?
pocket change for Mike.
And I was stunned, and I was like, "You had to tell me how." Did you do that? How does it feel, right? And, you know, he gave me a quote, and I've never forgotten it to this day. He said, "Let me tell you something. My peace of mind is priceless." And I had to think about it, right? And it applies to everything. I'm not just talking about marriage or anything else. I don't care whatever you do. As you get older in life, it's not the money, it's not your acquisitions, it's not what you have. what you have is you better be at peace with yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so I've never forgotten it, right?
So he's saying that like I owed it to take care of her, and she's
sure
taken care of, and I'm okay with that.
And he said, I'm okay with it.
And that should have been your final joint.
And I was like, but the number was staggering.
It was staggering. I thought you were going to say, and then he went to the roulette wheel.
Oh,
He said,
And
180 million on 7.
Then he went back in.
Spin it.
He did go back gambling, right? But I was saying, the stunning number was stunning. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God.
I've heard
I was
legendary
like,
stories about
how
some
much
poker
money
games.
do you actually have?
You tried to slide
listen,
up underneath the table on that one.
That wasn't half of it.
No.
That wasn't even
gosh.
close to half of it.
That Jordan,
but it did take care of her forever.
The Air Jordan deal has set him up for life.
Oh.
And did you see they had a story about Magic Johnson turning down the Nike deal some years ago and what he would have been worth today?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you think about that.
But you know what? When I read that too, and I questioned, I don't know that the brand would have been what it is today. Mike was the perfect guy
Yes, he was.
at the exact right time with the perfect product.
Yes, he was.
It was a perfect storm.
Where I'm from, there's two people that's like, if your name is Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan, there's little kids that's born every day in the hood that ain't never seen no playoff games, nothing, but they know when you ready to go to school, you telling your mom, I need them right there.
Stand in line on opening day before school, and they do the new release of the Jordan. It is a theatrical event.
He'll never be able. LeBron will never be able to catch him just because, in my mind, a little bit just because of
chasing a ghost.
The cultural significance of what
It is
Michael
amazing all these years later that kids who didn't even see him play.
I still be saying this.
Yeah.
My kids had me buying these shoes for Christmas, and I was like, this is
iconic.
35 years later, and we still buying these shoes.
It's really the
And
MJ triplets.
and the price is tripled.
Oh yeah,
I know it
tripled.
has. It's the MJ triplets. It's no question Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson, but Magic Johnson had that impact as big as he could before things blew up with Jordan.
Yeah,
like he had some. He was the iconic guy too.
Yeah.
And let's be the cultural significance of Magic Johnson having HIV. And was the first one to have it, and that man is still here to this day.
Yeah. We all thought it was a death sentence at the time. Okay. We all thought it was a death sentence at the time.
Mikey McNuggets just got my ear and says he's got some breaking news. I don't know what he's about to drop on us, but go ahead.
Yeah, Mandy Bell just tweeted that Terry Francona tested positive for COVID.
Oh, wow.
And will not be on the bench for today's game in Chicago. Bench coach D. Marlo Hale will fill in.
Okay.
That's from Mandy Bell. So
all right, very good.
No Tito.
No, thanks for that nugget. I mean, we saw last year when the Indians were without Tito.
Dollar in the jar.
No, they were the Indians last year.
Oh, okay, fair.
When they were without Tito last year, I'm not going to say when the Guardians were without Tito last
that's
year.
True.
When the Indians were without Tito last year, there was just that spark that was missing.
Right.
Well, that was a long stretch. Hopefully on a short.
It was, but I imagine he'll be out at least a week.
Well, if he's
That's my guess.
vaccinated, he could test. Mike Moustakas of the Reds went on the COVID list and was back 24 hours later.
Yeah, but
if
look
he's
at
vaccinated.
Yu Chang has been gone. He was out for a long stretch when he got COVID.
It depends on the individual.
Yeah,
I'm saying it is possible if you're vaccinated to come back quick.
But he's going to miss a number of games.
Yeah, the one thing I'm worried about is does it spread through the team? Like that's
obviously a big concern.
That's
All right,
concern.
Brad, we're going to stay in your wheelhouse
All right,
because there
Let's
was
go.
a stretch, and really I think it's ended because of what the Cavs are doing. There was a stretch where the big man you'd look around and say, where'd he go? He wasn't in the NBA. And when you played, obviously, big men were the building block for so many teams. But now the Cavs are trying to sort of flip the script. And with Evan Mobley, who I think is just a wonderful kid, young, he's 20 years old. He's come in. I think he's outperformed even our greatest expectations of him coming out of USC. The big question that I think a lot of fans have about Evan Mobley, we see what he can do night in and night out, but does he have that extra something special that, say, Giannis brings to Milwaukee, where he was able to say, guys, rally around me, give me the pieces, and we can win a championship here. Can Mobley do that here in Cleveland?
So let me first say, Evan Mobley is a special talent. He's a very special talent. And he is one of the pieces that the Cavaliers have that have put him back in a prominent position. So let me be clear. They turned back the clock and basically went back to old school basketball. Went to a front line of 7 foot, 7 foot, 7 foot across the front.
Unheard
line,
of today.
which was unheard of in these current days.
Yeah.
But it is very reminiscent of when I was playing. Right.
Takes you back to the Twin Towers.
There was no team in this league that could really defend that when it was at full strength, and that's why the Cavaliers had a lot of promise going forward. But so getting to Evan Mobley, he is a great talent here. He is not a talent I think you can ride all the way in, but the Cavs are built on a team concept, not one guy showing the way all the way through it. And I think in longevity, when you have a team built like that, Celtics, teams of that nature are built with multiple disciplines, you have a chance to go longer. I'm going to just tell you here, it took us a long time. I've been broadcasting for the Cavaliers for 12 years, right? It took us a long time to get to this point post LeBron, right? Because a lot of bad games we had to watch here, a lot of bad basketball.
Even before LeBron, Brad, like since the Doherty, Price, those guys' years, the Cavs have been awful pretty much every year.
If LeBron wasn't
except
on
for
the
LeBron.
roster. Yeah.
They did have, 1 or 2 decent years, but pretty much they've been awful.
Well, the Cavaliers, I don't go back to that.
Yeah.
They panicked after we beat them in '89, and what happened? They broke apart that team, and I think it set them back a long time. I think they learned from that. But where we are now is we've retooled. I think they've done a great job putting this young nucleus together. The question this summer is, will we push Evan Mobley be better, right? Can he get better? I think his upside is tremendously high.
Does he not have that interior drive on his own?
At 20, you have to learn this league. Not many walk in at 18, 19 dominating this league. You have to wait 4 or 5 years here to develop into what we see ultimately. Look at Giannis. I remember when Giannis was rookie year, I was like,
but
I'm
the
like,
growth
who is
was
this? I'm like, who is
incredible.
this?
Can we see that kind of growth with
so
Evan?
you can see that if you've got right people beside him, bringing him up in training. You have to learn this game. I would just tell you this, though. In that, we have other pieces around. The Cavaliers have to make significant decisions this season about where we're going. Because I think this, right? On the outskirt, I'll go to the West Coast, G. If I'm the Lakers, I'm not trying to retool the Lakers here. I have 2 assets.
You're going to blow them up, start over?
Yeah, I think in this league, what the Lakers will realize this summer is that they have 2 assets to only get better. Because if you stay with these assets, they're probably going to walk away. You're going to get nothing. Right. And so there's a pathway forward here. Because I think what's missing on the Cavaliers team is a person, a talent that can nurture young talent, right? But we don't need a talent to come in here and take over the show. We need you to be Oscar Robertson to the Milwaukee Bucks when Kareem Grant.
You saying LeBron? They gonna get LeBron back?
I'm just giving you the tea leaves out here. I'm not a fool. I'm not a fool.
But
right?
weren't you impressed with
LeBron? That's what he's saying.
Weren't you impressed with Evan Mobley's offensive game as a rookie
No,
at 19? I thought he'd be good defensively and
Bull. I watched him at USC. He's a talent. I was like, when people were passing him, I was like, you're foolish. I was like, you're not watching. You're not knowing what you're watching, right? This guy is a talent that you can ride in on here, right? But as we allow him to grow, we have to surround him with other players.
Are you proposing a LeBron James
back?
return? Is he that guy?
I'm proposing this. That I'm always trying to get better. If I learn anything from the Bulls and the Pistons, it's like, how do I get better?
DeJounte Murray.
I'm not here. A division championship is not my goal here.
Right.
It's riding it all the way to the end, right?
Well, that should be the end goal of every team.
No, because some people are about the money and some people don't know how to do that, Jay.
Yeah, but I don't think Dan is. I think Dan wants the title.
I think Dan wants to be there.
Sure.
Right. So it's taken us a while to get here. We have the pieces, Mobley, Garland. We have Sexton sitting out here on the sideline, right?
Yeah.
So we've got the pieces here. Kevin Love has fallen into a place where he can come off the bench and give us some prominent
Do you think
production.
he provides the proper guidance and leadership? Because I know a lot of the young guys, Garland, a lot of them have mentioned they've learned how to be a professional from Kevin Love. There's value in that.
So he has been great to this team. The difference is when you have a top talent, a top-tier talent is respected throughout this league through their command of the locker room is so much better, right? It's just different.
They've earned that.
It's different. And I'm saying what's floating out here in the NBA, the Cavaliers have a chance. The only problem for the Cavaliers is if you're looking for at a piece like that, people are going to want to extract something from you.
Right.
I know.
Don't
can LeBron be?
Don't give me some
comes at a cost.
low. It comes at a cost.
Yeah.
But
So
can
you have to
LeBron-
decide, do you want to do that or not?
Greg, can LeBron come back and it not be just the LeBron show again?
Well, I'm not sure that, and I've been talking to anybody. I'm just giving my opinion.
Yeah.
But I would tell you this. I don't think he can come back in the form we see him in now, because I think it's detrimental to everyone else.
Yes,
right?
but will
because,
he? We talked about Jarvis Landry.
He set his ego
aside.
aside.
Will LeBron be able to do that?
Let me just say, because he doesn't know this yet, but he's closer to the end than the beginning, right? No one has won against.
Well, I mean, if you do any math at all,
right, no one
he has to know that.
No, they here.
I mean, he doesn't have 16 more years in him. He's not that crazy.
Guys that have never known when it was time, because they're so used to playing at a high level.
Sure.
I mean,
at some point you have to adjust.
We've never seen LeBron not play at a high level.
You have to adjust your game here, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I threw out the thing about Oscar Robertson.
Right.
He was a triple-double machine in the NBA.
Yeah.
But when he came to Milwaukee, he had to tone the game back so that the other Bucks could go forward.
I think when you look at it, if LeBron, and I don't know how this morphed into LeBron, but if LeBron comes back and Evan Mobley is at a point where because to me, Evan Mobley is a mix between Duncan and Kevin Garnett a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And if he makes, now there's superstars, there's
Pretty high
stars. If Evan Mobley is a superstar, I'm talking 22, 12 rebounds, 3 blocks a game.
Yeah.
I think LeBron starts to see, well, hold on, let me see. I don't really got to play
I don't have
four.
to do that.
I don't got to play four.
I don't have to do that.
They got Jared Allen. He do the dirty work. I ain't got to do that either.
Well, what are the Cavs trading to get him? I'm not trading Garland.
Well, here, they're going to be asking for a high price. And so
who's your untouchable
I'm not even
on this team? You say you have to give up something to get something. Who are the guys that you would not think about
I'm not
parting
moving
ways
Mobley.
with?
2 guys.
I'm not moving Garland.
Yeah, those are my two also.
I'm not moving Allen either. I think he's an important
Allen's
part.
such
Well,
a talent.
But here,
but
if
you know
want,
the teams
if
are
you
going to
want
want
better.
Yeah, right.
If you want to get better,
then
you got to give up something here.
Well, that's what we were talking the other day when you weren't here about trading Colin Sexton as the key piece to get DeJounte Murray from San Antonio, who I love and I think is a really good player. And he learned from those great veterans, Parker and Ginobili, when they were still a championship team. And he's a great player on a bad team.
Would you entertain? And there were a lot more moving parts.
Yeah.
There were a lot of Cavs draft picks, but are you at least intrigued by a deal that could include those two players in the swap?
No.
Yeah, see, I'm with you. No. I don't want to break that core up.
The difference is you have a great core here, and the only way I'm going to break this core up if I get something of greater value, right? And the only
But he is a better player, much better player.
When you take a legitimate, I'm not saying he's not legit, a legitimate superstar or veteran player in this league, when you insert him in the locker room and around young
what
players,
happens to the chemistry?
It goes up.
Yeah.
David Robinson to Tim Duncan, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
How many years was Duncan under Robinson's tutelage?
Right.
Before he surpassed Robinson.
Well, that's why
that's what's happening here.
That's why they had such a long run at the top.
Right.
Because they had one superstar passing the baton willingly and checking his ego, and then you had the underling superstar. Never had an ego either.
Didn't have the pressure because the superstar carried the load.
At first he did.
I didn't carry that heat, right?
Yeah.
And I trained you up here, and
let's
after
be
I
clear,
trained you up,
that was perfect.
That's what happened.
But LeBron James has carried a lot of folks, man. But we don't remember how bad these teams were.
Oh, yes, we do.
And Kyrie Irving has never looked better. Opposite of any other superstar
on the court.
other than LeBron. He's played with Durant. He's played with the Boston Celtics, who are loaded.
Look at the roster he's playing with now. Harden, and you're right. I don't think he's ever looked like the same guy. He's still a dynamic player.
Yeah.
But I thought the perfect storm for both of those guys was one another.
Yeah.
And I think they both miss one another, to be honest.
There's no question.
Well, I want to move to a segment that we've been talking about a lot in rehearsals, but we haven't done it yet. So bear with us. We don't know how this is going to work out. But right now, it is time for Roll It. It works. All right, first of all, a round of applause because the tape rolled all the way.
Yeah.
Director Steve in there making it work. In fairness to Steve, the last time the machine froze up.
Yeah,
it happens.
not his fault.
Okay, so
Archie,
what is
tell us
Shop
what's
Talk?
going on
Explain
here.
it to us and take us through it.
You know, Shop Talk, see, nowadays, we can't be real with nobody, right?
Be real.
We there's a thing, everybody wants it to be even, but we should celebrate the difference in culture.
That's right.
We should celebrate
Embrace
it. And you can teach me something, you can teach me something, and we can teach you something.
We're all here to learn.
We're all here to learn. So in this episode of Shop Talk, we're going to give you 5 things that only brothers understand. We're gonna see if Bull get it. We're gonna see if Jay get it.
Who does better?
I want to see if Brad gets it.
see if I get it.
Brad might lose
Brad's a
his
different
brother card.
generation here.
And by the way, put in the comment section.
Take my card.
Hey, put in the comment section. If you get it, just put if you know, you know.
Yeah,
Just
if
go
you
ahead
know,
and
you know.
put it down.
All right,
there.
roll it. What's number one?
Let's roll number one.
Okay, growing up black.
Growing up black.
Oh, I know exactly what that
When
means.
you hungry as hell.
Yeah.
And church was supposed to get out at 12, but it's 1:45.
Yeah, y'all like to extend your services past the 1 hour mark. I've been to some black churches,
You're in
and
the
there's
background
passion.
tapping feet like,
come on, my stomach's grumbling. We about to wrap this up.
You got food and the game is coming on. Like, hold on now. The game
1 o'clock
is coming
kickoff.
on.
1 o'clock kickoff.
Hey,
You go.
I may not have gone to a black church as a kid, but I went to temple, a very religious temple, because my dad was super religious as a kid. And I'd be like, Dad, I'm starving. Get us the hell out of here.
Like you do look at your dad, because my dad only had a couple rules. Like he said, listen, my mom really ran the ship. She does a shout out to Dorothy, but he'd be like, look, man, this game about to come on. These Browns is coming on.
We gotta go.
Do not mess with me and stop sending the collection plate around. We don't need no more altar calls. If you know,
What about
you know.
What about the food in the back parlor when they serve the cakes and the pastries and little chicken?
Now they started after a while. They just started having men's and women's Sunday, and you just eat afterwards.
Right.
And you're like, well,
I feel like we're 1 for 1.
we
I
won
feel
for
like
we all
got
felt
it.
that.
Yeah.
We all felt that.
all right, let's go.
Number two.
Number two. Oh man, you ask your peoples, man, can we get McDonald's? You got McDonald's money?
So I'm
as a
guessing
parent driving the car, you have McDonald's money? No, we're not going
We're
to
not going to
McDonald's.
McDonald's. And it's like, what? And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm confused. I'm like, but they got a $1 menu now. It's like $3. Listen, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, I know. You still got to pull your own weight, man. And if things are tight,
Look,
you got the money for that? No, then pass.
What's that? All right, let's get it. Let's keep
All right,
it moving.
we got to roll.
He said, hurry up.
Number three.
Oh, we gotta listen.
You feel sorry for
when you feel sorry for every little boy and girl who did this in public because you knew the consequences.
Oh, you about to get a whooping.
Yeah.
You about to get a whooping.
Jay, here's the thing. Don't you fall out on me up in here.
That fall out.
I'm looking around here. You fall. Here, then you gotta grit your teeth like
don't you fall out on me.
Yeah, don't make me do this in public.
You see that little boy's legs is behind him. He the left
then you have the adults in the background, bull doing
about
like
to
this.
get real.
They're shaking. The ones that are the bystanders, they're shaking their head like.
You already know. I'm trying to be a mentor. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm sorry.
I'm a mentor. Hey, don't do that.
Look,
Listen,
I'm sorry.
the gun.
That usually doesn't cut it, though.
No.
If you fall out in public,
Oh, it's the best.
They never forget. They
don't get it.
right when you get in the house.
You can fall out in Lowe's. They still get it. They're like, don't you fall out in Lowe's up in here.
I saw a kid going nuts at the grocery store once. I said to the cashier, he's in trouble.
yeah, he's going to
in
regret
trouble.
that. All right, number four.
Number four, let's get to it, man. Ooh. Growing up black, when your mom brushed your hair and she almost brushed your ears, your forehead, neck with them plastic brushes right
Yeah,
there.
Do y'all know what's happening here?
Yeah.
Because you hear kids screaming. Oh, my hair!
Yeah.
Oh, like a murder's going on here.
And you know, when you do pictures, right,
Oh,
they
yeah.
used to give them combs out.
Oh, yeah.
And I was confused when I was in elementary school because it was just me. I'm like, why did I got a brush. My mom would put that Vaseline or grease on my hair and she brushed that thing down. See, if you know, you know. Sunday morning, that hurts. And then finally, let's get to the final one. This is tough. This is tough. Everybody's mama got a picture with that straw chair.
Oh, see, I'm out on that one. I don't remember
Brianna,
that.
Brianna, she's like, oh, listen.
Wait, why? Is the wicker chair like just a big deal?
Them the younger
With all the kids
mamas,
around.
Them the younger mamas, right? Was it at the club scene? Is that what the picture was at the club scene?
That wicker chair, I don't know.
You don't know what it is?
I don't know. Everybody had them. Everybody was using them.
Yeah.
I had 35 cousins with senior
backdrop.
pictures with the backdrop. backdrop, and it was kind of high. It was right here,
like a throne.
If you know, you know.
All right, very good. I was out on that one. I
feel like I'm
I
3
did
for
not
5.
know about that.
Not bad. That's not bad.
Batting 3 for 5 is dope.
I felt all of them but the straw chair. But now I know. now I know. And you know what? That's part of the beauty of this show.
That's part.
Cultural exchange, baby. Now you know what's going to happen, though. Now I'm going to see that picture everywhere. And I'm going to be like, yo, G-Money.
He talking, now you're going to notice it. Right.
That's great. All right, taking a quick break. When we come back, really excited about this. Joe Thomas, the great Joe Thomas, joins the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. He's going to be a regular on the program, too, kids. His first interview with the gang on the other side of this quick break. Stay with us. Dude, that was great.
Yeah,
Those were awesome. Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I am a
Hey, it's Adam the Bull for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and I'll tell you what I think of when I think of Cleveland sports. It's that everybody loves it. I've been to other parts of the country, and there's people that love sports and people that don't care. But in Cleveland, everybody cares even a little bit from every walk of life, and that's what makes this city special. Whether it's football, baseball, or basketball, it doesn't matter.
I'm having a hard
People
time
of
getting
Cleveland
my...
and Northeast Ohio love their teams like nowhere else in the country.
News you can trust should be news you can rely on.
And every night at 11 on What's Next, you can rely on us.
A new legal twist for Brown.
Today also marks the beginning of
We're here, and we are going to continue.
So the Guardians have to play almost.
You can rely on us to help you go to bed better informed with stories that prepare you for tomorrow.
And with news that's relevant to your life. We'll make sure that you're ready for what's next.
Because being ready for tomorrow is what matters most.
We face challenges every day, some bigger than others, and we never know what's around the corner.
Through the highs and the lows, whatever we face it together. Each morning on Go, we are here with the facts, because what impacts you impacts all of us.
And understanding those facts helps us to make informed decisions for our families, our communities, and our future.
We are here for you every step of the way. Go, weekday mornings, 4:30 to 7 a.m.
Cleveland sports to me is bigger than anything. It's bigger than some people's marriages. They say the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. No. Dallas is not America's team. Cleveland is America's team. And sports in Cleveland is a religion. It's a way of life. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. Sports is a way for people in Cleveland to get together, and it's something that can't be replicated in Cleveland. Sports is a thing.
All right, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is back. We're going to throw out a call to action to our viewers. If you've got one of those family pictures with mom in the straw chair, we want to see it. We want to see it. We want to see just how big a thing it is.
And by the way, we talked about it just a little bit earlier. All the women that support Cleveland teams, look how many people is in the building. Chloe F. is here. Sonia Wilson.
Chloe F.'s a regular, right?
She's a regular. Kathleen Mills is in there. Linda Mayo is here. There are so many women who support.
Shout out to women.
Just love the Cleveland sports scene. We appreciate you for checking in.
Absolutely. And they're watching, so they're diehards.
Yeah.
They're not casual fans. They're totally into it. All right, without further ado, I'm pumped to bring in our next guest. I think one of the top linemen in the history of the NFL. Is clearly one of the best ever to do it for the Cleveland Browns. Joe Thomas joins us on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Joe, I want to start with something that is going to blow you away. Now you're known as Skinny Joe Thomas, okay?
It's absurd.
That's kind of what we call you. The Bull says that he doesn't like Skinny Joe Thomas. He likes heavier, stockier Joe Thomas. What do you make of that?
Joe, that was the one thing I could say, like, you're this great athlete, you're a great guy. It's like, at least he's, not that you were fat, but you were just big. I'm like, hey, at least I'm like Joe, we're both 300 pounds. Now you're skinny as a rail. I don't even have that.
No.
I mean, come on.
I am so sorry. I hope that I'm never going to go back to Fat Joe. My knees are much happier as skinnier. Not skinny, but not as Fat Joe.
Can you put me on the Joe Thomas diet? I mean, can you help me here? I got to be skinny
easy.
like you.
It's easy, but it does take a little bit of discipline. So maybe we'll have to download after the show and get after it a little bit.
He's saying I got no discipline.
Joe, how much less?
Yeah, pretty much.
How much less is there of Joe Thomas today than when you played your last game?
I think I'm about 50 pounds less than I was when I finished my career. The heaviest I ever played out was like 325, and
Right.
I'm like 260-ish now.
Okay.
And my last season, I was right around 300, 305.
Great.
Wow.
Man, your career, Joe, is one for the record books. It started in Wisconsin, came through Cleveland, will end in Canton. When you look back on your career, what's the thing that you're most proud of? The thing that, when you go into Canton, the one thing that's going to make you say, yeah, I belong here?
Growing up in Wisconsin, growing up as a Green Bay Packer fan in the 90s, I think that loyalty was really important to me, to my family, to the players that I cheered for when I was growing up. And the fact that I played in Cleveland for all 11 seasons of my career, I think that has become a little bit unique for a lot of players. You don't see that all that often anymore. I mean, if there was one guy that you were saying, hey, this guy's going to be loyal and he's going to start his career and finish his Hall of Fame career all in the same place, it would have been Tom Brady. And then now he's going on his third season in Tampa Bay. So I've got a lot of pride that I stayed in Cleveland, and it was my life's work, even though it didn't pan out, to turn the Cleveland Browns around and to turn the Browns into a Super Bowl contender. And I think just my commitment and discipline and loyalty, I think, sticks out, and that's probably what I'm fairly proud of.
Yeah, you should be.
Joe, to that point, a lot, for fans who maybe forgot, probably most fans remember because people are obsessed with the Browns, they don't forget anything. But you had a chance to go to Denver, right? They were offering the Browns a first-round pick later in your career, and I don't think anybody would have blamed you for going for a chance to win, but you didn't want to go. Talk about that specifically, and why you didn't go in the end.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned, I was mentally diseased every offseason. I convinced myself that the Browns were going to the Super Bowl. Signing a Josh McCown and Seneca Wallace, that's the guy we needed. He was taking us to the promised land. But I think that's the mindset that you have to get into as a player. You have to believe in your roster and your team and the moves that you've made to get the most out of yourself, right? Because if you go in every season thinking, we're no good, we're not going to do anything this year, we have no chance to make the playoffs, how are you going to push yourself? Because you always want to put yourself in that position to be able to make the play when you're called upon. And in the offseason, that dream is, in the playoffs, they're going to expect me to be able to block Dwight Freeney coming off the edge on 3rd and 10 when the game's on the line. So I got to train like we're going to be in that situation. And so I think it was easy for me because, like I mentioned earlier, my mission when I got to the NFL was, hey, I want to turn this organization around. Cleveland is home to me. The Browns are not only the team that I play for, but it's now my favorite team in the NFL. That's why I'm such a big fan right now, and I'm raising my kids as Browns fans.
Love it.
Because I felt like I was such a part of the organization that this is where I wanted to be, and I felt how special it would be to turn around one of the most proud franchises in the NFL that had been down so long. To me, that was the ultimate payoff to be able to do that. Like, that would be so much better than just going to a team and winning a Super Bowl that was already there, that had already, been playing really good football when I got there. Like, to be part of the turnaround would be way more special. And so I always wanted to be part of that. And when the Denver stuff came up, I was under contract, so it wasn't like I had the opportunity as a free agent to leave, but certainly I could have made enough of a stink where the Browns had to trade me when Denver put the offers on the table. But I didn't really want to go. I wanted to be part of the turnaround in Cleveland, like I mentioned.
Love them.
Yeah, man. I felt like we could do it. I felt like we were close. Apparently, obviously we weren't, but in my mind we were.
Joe, obviously you on the waiting list. Like you're gonna go into the Hall of Fame first ballot, which is a great honor. Would you trade your gold jacket for a Super Bowl ring?
Ooh.
Or even not just a Super Bowl ring, would you trade your gold jacket for the opportunity to play in the Super Bowl? It's not guaranteed if you win or not.
See, he hasn't frozen. He's just deep in thought.
Yes, he's just like thinking. That was one of the greatest questions of all time.
No, I love that question, G. In fact, it was so good. He's just stuck in the moment thinking about it. We're working feverishly to unfreeze him. But that's a great question because One is immortality.
Yeah. Right.
So you're kind of asking, like, would you trade a lifetime of immortality and fame? Because when you go into the Hall of Fame, you become an industry, and you can monetize
But guessing
that.
Joe,
But
he
would you,
would
I
take
know
that.
what he's going to
Yeah,
say.
of course.
At least I think I know what he's going to say.
And that's why I bargained back. I said, well, you
Yeah.
don't win.
'Cause that's a serious question.
You-
That's a very serious question.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's a thoughtful question.
Because I'm a firm believer of this, right? This country will never see a Super Bowl like a Cleveland Browns. Super
You're
Bowl.
right. No, you're
I
right.
just wonder
Because
what
if the
that's gonna
Cleveland Browns ever made a Super Bowl, the place wherever it's being held at would be
Yep.
flooded with so many
my
folks.
God.
So it would be like
We have Joe?
unbelievable.
Great, Joe. That question was so good that your picture froze.
Yeah.
So now we've built up your response. We think we know what you're going to say, but we're not sure.
I love it.
So answer G's question. That's such a good one.
So Super Bowl or gold jacket? I'm assuming because the question was so good, it froze right in the middle of it for me. So, I mean, to be part of winning a Super Bowl in Cleveland, something they've never done, it would be easy for me to say win a Super Bowl. So that's what I'm going to say because it's obvious. If this was maybe New England and we'd already won 6 of them, and it was like, would you rather win 7 or 6 in the Hall of Fame? I think I'm going with the gold jacket in 6. But going back to the previous question, being in Cleveland and turning it around and winning a Super Bowl, that would be more special, and there would be fewer people that could say, I was part of that, than there are people in the Hall of Fame. And when you look at, hey, what do you want to accomplish in your career, no matter what space or profession you're in, to be doing things that are at the top of your business that are the most rare, like those are the coolest things to be able to accomplish. And taking the Browns to the mountaintop, that would be the ultimate.
I think that's what separates Joe from most players. Right. I think if you ask that question to all of the current players, I think the vast majority would say, give me that immortality. But Joe is more about team than individual. I think the day you were drafted, I knew we were going to love you in Cleveland from jump. You passed on the invitation to go to the draft in New York. You said, no, I think I'm going to go fishing with Pops. In that moment, I said, this is our guy.
That's high on the gets us meter.
You got us, and you had us at hello, Joe.
So Joe, let me jump in here from the standpoint. So I went to full truth to disclosure. I went to Wisconsin for a couple of years too. So.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah. So I
before he saw the light and transferred to Ohio State.
I could bring up the college
So what you're
club.
saying is you weren't playing at Wisconsin because the quality of your teammates was too high.
There he is. You already understand. He already understands.
Yeah, he gets it.
Right. I gave it a go though. Right. So here, I won't even ask you about the college club, right? Because I know that's still in existence.
That's a good
over
spot.
There. Yeah, good spot. Right?
right.
Real good spot. Right.
Still rocking.
But I want you to for our viewers to equate playing in Camp Randall and the traditions of Camp Randall and how that prepared you to come play in front of the Cleveland fans here.
Well, Camp Randall, it is a rockin' place. It is a lot of fun playing there. The fans are fantastic. But it's a different atmosphere. I always tell people, like, when Browns fans are in their seats and they're watching the game, they're watching every single snap. They're still having their pops. They're still having their adult beverages. They're partying. They're having a good time. But they are locked into every single thing that happens, and they're living and dying with the wins and the losses and every single play that happens. Camp Randall is much more of like a carnival atmosphere where everybody that goes, they're going to have a lot of fun. They might not be paying attention to the game the entire time. They're having their pops beforehand or under their their jackets. But, win or lose, they're not quite as concerned about that. It's more about being there and being part of the party and being part of the fun. So I think both games are awesome to go to. I think there's a much greater risk reward paradigm when you go to a Browns game, because if they win, it is the greatest feeling in the world. But if they lose, you're down in the dumps. Whereas in Camp Randall, you're walking in and you're walking out and you know you're going to have a good time. But I think the highs and the lows just aren't there like they are when you're in a Browns uniform or in the stands at a Browns game.
Madison does know how to party.
Yeah. Joe, Baker now old news. Who would have guessed that a year ago? Deshaun Watson in.
Crazy.
We know the off-the-field stuff. It's been talked about a million. Let's talk on the field. I would say unequivocally, Deshaun Watson is the most talented quarterback in the history of the Cleveland Browns. I don't think it's close. I don't care about Otto Graham 7,000 years ago. It was not nobody was playing then. And as talented as Bernie is, Baker's a solid quarterback. There's no way anybody's better. Now, he's got to actually do it on the field and win games for the Browns. How much better are they when Deshaun Watson's on the field?
Well, yeah, Deshaun Watson is a tier 1 quarterback. He's talent-wise up there with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and any of those superlative quarterbacks in the NFL because he can do it all. He's got a huge arm. He's got an accurate arm. He can move outside the pocket. He's incredibly smart. He's experienced, right? So this is not just a guy that did it in college and the Browns are getting in the first year where he was picked at the high in the draft and he may or may not transition to the NFL game. Like, we know this guy can do it. So it's just a matter of getting him out there, putting the Browns helmet on and figuring out this offense. And for Kevin Stefanski to be able to develop and tweak his offense to fit what Deshaun does best. So I think when you talk about where is the ceiling for Deshaun, I mean, the ceiling's as high as there is for any quarterback in the NFL because there's nothing that he doesn't do exceptionally well. And when you contrast him with Baker or any of the other Browns quarterbacks, there was always a yeah, but. Like with Baker, it's yeah, but he's not all that big and he's not all that athletic. He doesn't move all that well. He's very accurate. He can throw well outside the pocket. But there are these parts of his game that aren't as good as some of the others. But with Deshaun, there really is nothing that could hold him back whatsoever.
Joe, we were in a pre-production meeting. We were talking about, some of the players. And Joe Bitonio's name came up. And somebody said, he has a chance to make the Hall. I said, what? And I thought about it. I said, Joe Bitonio is one of the sneakiest good players the Browns have ever had. Do you?
They learned from Joe playing next to him.
I mean, tell us about him a little bit. And do you think he's one of the more underrated guys in the league? And if he does have a chance to make the Hall of Fame, if he continues to play at this high level?
Yeah, there's no doubt. For a lineman, so much of your accolades for Hall of Fame relates to the longevity with which you play, right? Because you really got to get up there 8, 9, 10 Pro Bowls to put yourself into that category when you're comparing yourself to other offensive linemen that have made the Hall of Fame. And Joel, I don't know how long he wants to play. I haven't asked him about that, but certainly he's putting together a resume that will stack up very favorably against any other guards that are in the NFL. Now, if they continue to have success and he continues to play at the high level that he's playing at, and it doesn't hurt having guys like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the backfield because as your running backs get credit and get the acclaims, like some of that starts to spill down and waterfall to you and people start noticing you. And I think too, for offensive linemen, like get into the playoffs. If they make some playoff runs, if they win a Super Bowl, those are all things that get talked about when a player retires and they start saying, hey, is his resume good enough to get him in the Hall of Fame? And certainly I think the performance, the way Joel plays, is at a Hall of Fame level. Now, we just got to see how long he can do that and how the rest of his career unfolds.
Yeah, Pro Bowls, playoff appearances. If you're exceptional and the best at your position, like Joe was, you can get there without a big playoff resume.
Hopefully the PFF grades now. I know some people
that helps
scoff at
people
that.
kind of
I think
sort it
that's
out.
gonna help offensive linemen now too. Yeah.
Hey, Joe, I love when you tell stories about the Browns. I have a favorite that I've heard you tell, and maybe this is your go-to story for the Browns, but what is your favorite Cleveland Browns story, your go-to at the banquets, one that leaves them laughing every time? What's your favorite one?
Oh, man, there's a lot of good ones.
The one that I remember was when you introduced yourself to a quarterback in the huddle.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's like a Shakespearean irony and sadness to most of my stories being the owner of a 1-31 record down the stretch there in my career. But my favorite, probably is the easy one. We're in Pittsburgh. It's the fourth quarter. We're driving down the field, and surprisingly, I think we're 4-11 at this point. But we're giving the Steelers a run for their money. I don't even remember if Big Ben is playing, but I think we're down by like 7. And so we're moving into the Heinz red zone, and the Sticks from Renegade by Sticks is playing. And all of a sudden, my left guard, who's a backup at that time, he goes the wrong way on a protection. And our third string already quarterback is back there and just gets his head taken off. And he's laying there. and he can't get up. So the trainers come out, they pull him off, and they're able to get him to the sideline. But now we've got the 4th string quarterback coming into the game. And unfortunately, that was a guy that we had just signed off the street a few days before because we had some injuries, obviously, going into that game. And so not very many people knew who he was, and including his left tackle. And so he gets into the huddle, and it's still a TV timeout because we had an injury, and it's 3rd down now. And they bring this quarterback into the huddle, and I turn to him and I say, "Hey, it's really nice to meet you. I'm Joe Thomas, and I'll be your left tackle on this 3rd down." And turns out the guy's name was Josh Johnson, and he ended up having a pretty good NFL career for a journeyman-type quarterback. But that one kind of just encapsulates the career that I had in Cleveland and a number of quarterbacks that I was graciously allowed to block for throughout my career.
Yeah, that does sort of sum up everything. Like, it is bad. This is how bad it was. I had to introduce myself to a quarterback that was about to try to lead us into a victory against Pittsburgh at Heinz. That's awesome. Hey, can you stick around? We do a top 5 list every day. We want to include you in on it. Are you good with that?
Absolutely. Yeah,
all right,
course.
Mikey McNuggets, our producer, is going to take us through the top 5. What is today's topic, first of all?
Today's top cheeses, the 5 best cheeses. I've interviewed some pretty cool people. I don't get nervous. I'm nervous right now to go cheese for cheese with Joe Thomas.
Yeah, didn't he say he's going to roast you on this?
Yeah, I think Joe may know a thing or two about cheese.
Yeah. All right, take us through your top 5 cheeses, and I want to hear Joe's thoughts on them. Go ahead.
There we go. Number 5, pepper jack cheese.
Oh, wow, that's my number 1.
It's got a little kick. It's meltable. It's versatile. And it has a high meltability rating. Number 5, pepper jack.
Joe, what do you make of that? That seems low to me.
A little low.
No, pepper jack is a very down the middle, like normal cheese. It's not good in a lot of applications, except for it's really good on like burgers when you're trying to add a little bit of heat to something. But it's basically just a cheddar, so it's pretty boring. For a guy like Mikey McNuggets, I'm not exactly surprised that he went with boring for his
In other words, you're vanilla.
Well, you should rip these guys even
Mr.
more.
Yeah, because I like
number
it.
1.
I love pepper jack. I can't wait to hear his top 5. What do you have at number 4, Mikey?
Yeah. That's a
Number
sandwich
4.
cheese here, kids.
Parmesan cheese. Name any dish, put Parmesan on it, it's automatically better. Number 4, Parmesan.
Joe?
I love Parmesan. It's one of the most underrated cheeses that's out there because most people just think about Parmesan on pizzas, maybe on salads, shredded a little bit. But if you have a charcuterie board and you throw some Parmesan on there for your hard cheese lovers, it's one of the best cheeses out there because it's got these little crystallizations in there that kind of give you a mouthfeel that you don't usually get with a lot of cheeses. It's also got a saltiness that's really favorable when you're pairing it with a lot of different
textures. He's off the chain here.
And some wines.
He's going
dude. I'm telling
charcuterie
you,
board.
Parmesan, you guys, buy a big brick or a big wheel of Parmesan and cut a couple hunks. It is phenomenal cheese.
It ain't cheap, but it's worth it.
We got Bobby Flay in the house.
That was the most in-depth description of Parmesan cheese I have ever heard, by the way, Joe.
Amazing.
You've got a future
Thank
as a
you. I
food
love
critic.
Parmesan.
Hall of Fame cheese
Thank
guy,
you.
too.
McNuggets, what's number 3?
Real quick, Joe Thomas just called me Mikey McNuggets.
Yeah.
Are we best friends now, Joe?
Yeah, we are.
He's like, I don't even feel like that.
I mean, I think the name's got to stick now.
It does.
Yeah.
Number 3, I'm not going to lie. This should be higher. I chickened out. Goat cheese. Great meltability rating. It goes good on burgers, salads. It's versatile, and frankly, it tastes amazing.
I love it. I'm with you.
Joe?
Brothers.
Remind me to put
Love
this on
goat
the
cheese.
stuff that brothers don't eat.
Yeah.
No goat cheese.
Joe, do you like it?
You should add goat cheese into the diet because it's outstanding. The spreadability. If you're coming up with a top 5 cheese list, you got to have a spreadable cheese, and your goat cheese is going to be up there number 1.
Wow.
Number
Joe loves
1.
the goat cheese.
Yeah,
Number 1
spreadable
for
is
spreadable
key.
cheeses. For spreadable cheeses.
For
not overall,
spreadable
just
cheeses,
for
okay.
spreadables.
It's not bad in the
Yeah.
flavor department either. Some people
I'll stick with cream
bland.
cheese on
What's
spreadable.
number 2?
Hey, geez, take a double barrel pork chop and spread not cream cheese. You got me going. Goat cheese all over that with some blueberry compote on top. It'll blow your mind.
Now I'm starved. What's
There you
number
go.
2?
Number 2, mozzarella. Mozzarella sticks, top 5 appetizer. It's got the
number 1 for
ooey
me.
gooey goodness.
False.
And it could be good eaten cold, and not all cheeses are good eaten
Joe,
cold.
you buying that?
No, mozzarella is not in your top 5. It's boring. There's nothing to it. All these other cheeses do mozzarella only better, so get out of here.
You've been dismissed.
The
No,
only
Mikey
reason you use
McNuggets.
mozzarella is because it's low moisture. And you don't want your pizza crust to get soggy. That's the only reason mozzarella deserves any airtime at all.
Airtime. What's number 1?
It's cheddar. I know it's kind of boring, but it's the most versatile. It goes good on literally anything, and it's the most common base for mac and cheese, which is delicious.
It never lets you down.
Joe's not going to like it, though, but I love it.
It never lets you down, but I think Joe actually will like it. Joe?
I like it because you got to have one like baseline. Everybody loves this cheese. It can go well with anything. You can age it like a 10-year cheddar. You can smoke it. You can do a lot of things with cheddar. It's a sandwich cheese. You can eat it by itself. Like, it's the most versatile, and you got to have a versatile cheese up there.
Come on, Joe.
He has really thought this out.
Yeah,
that's what I love about Joe.
What would Joe, what would be your number one?
There's no provolone. There's no American. There's no Swiss.
American's
American is real
processed.
cheese.
American's a processed cheese. That doesn't even count. Joe, what's your number one?
No blue cheese.
Swiss. I like Swiss. It's got the most interesting flavors to me. Too. I like the little holes in there. I don't know why. That's nothing to maybe just the mouthfeel, but like a good baby Swiss is hard to beat. Number 2 would be Manchego for me. If you've ever had a Manchego, it kind of toes the line between a hard cheese and a soft cheese. It plays well on everything, and it does all the things that cheddar can do, only better.
Joe, I think you love the holes because you created a lot of holes as an offensive lineman, right?
Oh, that's right.
It's all about blowing guys up.
Just bias there for me.
Yeah, and Swiss is great on a burger. I love Swiss on a burger.
Yeah. You know what? I think what we've decided here, Joe, there's a restaurant in Green Bay that I used to hit every time I was there to cover a Packers game. They make this soup. It's called a 5-cheese soup. And it's got somehow it's got beer in it as well. It is
beer cheese soup is great.
How can you go? It's the only place I've ever had it is Wisconsin. But they use 5 different cheeses and the beer in the soup. And I'm starved just thinking about it right now. You can put cheese in everything and make it better.
No doubt.
Cheese makes everything better. That's the moral of this story. But beer cheese soup, that's something that's kind of funny. You're right. It's very regional. Wisconsin makes it. I've never made it, so I don't even know if they really actually put beer in it. I'm assuming by the name, but we should bring that to Ohio because it is damn good.
Listen, it would go crazy in Ohio because our first cousins really are Wisconsin folks. I think we're really close philosophically and everything else. That's why I fit here.
Real quick, Joe, what's we saw Nick Chubb squatting. I've been asking everybody about this today. Nick Chubb. Have you ever squatted that much? And is he the biggest stud running back ever?
No. I got to think so. I mean, I know that Saquads is, known for having some big squats, but the way Nick Chubb put that weight up and down was unbelievable. I was like at my peak, super strong when I was 20 years old. I was like a 600-pound squatter, but Chubb is like a 750. I mean, his squats and those legs, that strength that he has in his hips, it's no wonder he steamrolls guys every Sunday.
No doubt.
Yeah, it is crazy. Joe
you're
Thomas,
the man, buddy.
Cleveland loves you. You know that. And when you're back in Cleveland, please come by our studio because it's great that you called him Mikey McNuggets, but if he ever gets to meet you, he'll fanboy straight into a coma. I promise you that. Joe Thomas, the greatest lineman ever to do it in our view. Joe, thanks so much for joining the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And that, my friends, is how you break down food. The way Joe, it was unbelievable. He took the same approach that he takes to a football game. In-depth knowledge. He went down in the weeds on all the cheese.
Like a scientist.
That was phenomenal. That was just amazing. One of a kind.
That second cheese he mentioned
with the crystals.
Yeah.
He's that crystallizes.
Well, he mentioned an expensive cheese. That cheese is the one you get. That's a Giant Eagle brand. That's $45 a pound. You don't get that. Like, what do you mean?
I do love American cheese, even though it's processed. To defend you on that.
I'm not a fan of American. I'll eat it, but
I like it. I do like it on a burger.
Yeah. All right. You want to break before final takes, or you want to do the final takes right now?
We're gonna break real quick.
Okay.
We're gonna do final takes.
Quick break. On the other side, we'll wrap it up with our final takes. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show coming right back.
Cleveland sports to me is bigger than anything. It's bigger than some people's marriages. They say the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. No. Dallas is not America's team. Cleveland is America's team. And sports in Cleveland is a religion. It's a way of life. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. Sports is a way for people in Cleveland to get together, and it's something that can't be replicated in Cleveland. Sports is a thing.
Recognize that feeling? It is the feeling of being together, enjoying the company of a familiar face, and sharing moments that matter to you, to me, to us. What matters to some could impact all of us, especially in a place like Northeast Ohio. Here, stories are shared from east to west to south. Stories of perseverance, of family, of love. If a story brings us together, it's what matters most.
News you can trust should be news you can rely on.
And every night at 11 on What's Next, you can rely on us.
A new legal twist for Brown.
Today also marks the beginning of ODA's
here, and we are going to continue.
So the Guardians have to play almost.
You can rely on us to help you go to bed better informed with stories that prepare you for tomorrow.
And with news that's relevant to your life. We'll make sure that you're ready for what's next.
Because being ready for tomorrow is what matters most.
Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I am a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. I have carried my fandom every city I've ever lived in. People have always asked me, why are you so diehard about Cleveland? It's because I'm from here. And we know how much our teams mean to us. Most of us know that because of our parents. In my case, my father was just a huge Cleveland sports fan. It was really part of our life. It was woven into everything we did. And it was our connection throughout his life. All right, we're back on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I want to thank Joe Thomas again. I think that was
awesome.
His buy-in on the interview. That's kind of silly, you know. You don't know how they're going to react to that, but his buy-in on the cheese thing was absolutely off the charts. Time for final take. Bull, you are on the clock.
Guys, you know, I'm sick of this, and I used to be a culprit of this, of everybody's got rules for fans. You can't do this, and you can't do that. And if you don't do this, you're a bad fan. All that stuff is nonsense. We're always too busy criticizing each other. I'm guilty of it, but I've stopped doing it when it comes to fans. If you don't want to watch your team because they stink, that doesn't make you a bad fan. That makes you smart. If I'm watching a TV show or a movie and it's bad, I'm not going to keep watching it just for some perceived loyalty to the team. It doesn't mean I don't love the team. If my favorite team stinks, I'm not as locked in, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we don't need to criticize. We put each other into camps, whether you're a Baker guy or a Watson guy, or I'm a guy who goes to the game. I'm a guy who watches on TV. Everybody does fandom their way. If you want to have a favorite AFC team and NFC team, when I was a kid, I would have been like, you're an idiot. You can't do that. Now, I've relaxed on that. I'm going to stop telling people how to be fans. You root for your team, whether it's Cleveland or anywhere else, the way you want to do it. And stop judging people for how often they watch. It's not a competition who's the best fan. Everybody's a good fan in their own way. Everybody can do it in their own way. We need to stop judging people.
Yeah, you do you and let everybody else do that. The one thing on fandom that I don't have a tolerance for is when you go to a game and a fan is crossing the line with his criticism of the other team, or even a player that plays for his team, getting personal with name calling,
That's absurd,
ruining your environment around it, because everybody else paid for their ticket too.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear you yell to a professional athlete, you're a bum. He's not a bum.
I was
a pro.
at the Cubs-Pirates wild card game in 2015, right? 2015, Cubs-Pirates wild card game. And everybody in Cleveland knows I'm a Cubs fan, so I'm at the game. This guy sitting behind me is a Pirates fan, and he says, Jake Arrieta, I want to slit your throat.
Yeah, that's
Can
ridiculous.
you imagine?
No, that's ridiculous.
I turn around at the guy, I'm like, what? Are you insane?
You know what my rule is? If you wouldn't say it to the athlete to his face with just you and he in the room, keep it to yourself.
But however you want to root within reason, obviously.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, if your team's 2-11 and you want to check out, look,
I
get
get you
it.
a bad fan. I got other things to do. I don't have to watch every game if the team stinks.
G. Bush, final take.
Hey, my dad one week about 25 years ago goes to a pawn shop and he gets this little radio transistor television, right? And it's black and white. And I'm like, Dad, why are we going to get this little radio TV thing? He said, listen, you'll learn. Sometimes we don't get the Browns games like that. So what happened, and the reason why he got that was we got a feed out of another state, Pennsylvania. And when the Browns games used to get blacked out, we would be able to watch the Cleveland Browns on this little radio television type thing in black and white.
With rabbit ears.
With rabbit ears, pulling them up in foil. And I said, this is great. And I look at it now and say, look how far we've come. Look how far we've come from your team not selling out home games, and you couldn't even watch it in the local market, to now. Your team, I would say, for the last 5-6 years or so, has been the top team to talk about. You turn on Fox, you turn on ESPN, you turn on any of your sports channel and broadcasting, and the first thing they talk about is your Cleveland Browns. They not only talk about your new quarterback, they talk about the backup quarterback or the quarterback we're going to get rid of every single day. And people are like, sometimes, we want to stay out of the mix. We want to stay out of the situation. We don't want any problems. But I tell you, listen, enjoy it. Enjoy the view from the top of the food chain. It used to be the Dallas Cowboys and Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. It used to be Steve Young and Jerry Rice. Heck, we already know about the Patriots and Tom Brady. But right now, your Cleveland Browns are the hottest thing smoking. Sometimes it's going to be bad. Sometimes it's going to be good. Sometimes it might even be controversy. But just enjoy the view from the top of the food chain, because right now, the Cleveland Browns are proving once again that they are America's team.
I buy that. The country cares. The whole time I was at ESPN, most of the times we were talking about Cleveland, it was negative.
Yep.
But I used to complain about that all the time. I'm like, guys, why do we always have to throw darts on the Browns? And he goes, and it put it into perspective for me. He goes, you want to be the Lions?
Right, we're irrelevant.
Because they suck and nobody cares.
Wow.
The reason we're doing the Browns, to your point, was they get the fact that the Browns have a fan base that goes coast to coast. That's and they move the meter. And after that, I kind of got it. Not that I ever enjoyed doing negative stories about Cleveland. The 0-16 hurt me more as a broadcaster than anything I ever experienced, because I hated it. But he put it into perspective for me when he said, you want to be the Lions?
Yeah.
Because no one cares about the Lions.
At all.
Except the Detroiters.
And I'm like, okay, we'll be lovable losers, I guess.
Well,
what you got, Brad?
Well, I got this, and Jay and G. Bush brought it up. I'm on this Tom Brady kick now, right? So, and it's not Brady coming back for football. If you're paying attention, Brady just got awarded a contract for broadcasting whenever he retires, for a sum of $375 million.
Ridiculous.
And I will tell you this, I'm a capitalistic guy, right? But we're losing our way here. Tom Brady is getting $375, double what was out there in the market before, for a guy who has done no broadcasting work, right, period. And then we struggle to help the people that are really helping us. How about the nurses dealing with COVID? How about the teachers who are in the schools teaching these kids, right? We struggle to pay them, but we can sure find the money to pay Tom Brady. I'm sure Tom Brady has enough money, right? And the other side of it is there are other guys in this business, not us, right? Other guys in this business that and women in this business that should be given a chance, right? I still, for the life of me, can't figure out how Fox felt like they had to double down on Brady and pay him this money when the market didn't say to do that. And then we will argue on other things about things that need to be done. I go back to the teachers teaching these kids, nurses in the hospitals fighting this COVID war, right? And other professions like that are always undermined or undervalued, but you need them every day, right? I don't need Tom Brady in the box for $375. I just don't. And I'm in the business, right?
Yeah.
But I don't need him in the box for $375.
I'll tell you, so when you think about that deal, the shocking thing to me wasn't the annual sum. I figured, we talked about it yesterday, I said he's going to make in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 million per year. It's all about monetizing whatever your job is. And unfortunately, society doesn't put a high enough priority on teachers and nurses. Nurses, I think, are different. Teachers, it's hard to monetize it because you're not bringing in any revenue. It's all about how much you're spending. Nurses, obviously, with healthcare, I think nurses are underpaid. But with Brady, I think the networks looked at what, and I hate to pick on my old buddies at ESPN because I'm friends with all of these guys that have come and gone in the booth over the last 4 or 5 years. But I think everybody would agree that that talent was underwhelming. For it being a property of primetime NFL, it just didn't seem to be up to par.
Let me be clear.
And now they're going to spend money to make sure they get.
Brady's not bringing me in to watch the game. I'm watching the Browns. I'm not here for Brady.
But we also talked about this yesterday. They're spending so much money, $1 billion a year, to get the rights to these games. They understand that you're going to have schedules, that you're going to have weeks on a schedule where the game isn't attractive. Yeah. And that's when research after research project that has been done shows that the broadcaster makes a difference. Yeah. And Tom Brady moves the meter, man. He does.
will.
Hey, Bryce Young.
I agree with you. I don't watch it for. I'm not watching for Tom Brady, but obviously people.
C.J. Stroud, get your money. Travion Henderson, get your money.
Yeah,
everybody.
All
and you're right. You're 100% right. That's why our kids are dumber than ever.
Fox has the bag
because
they're giving the colleges that same level of money. Get your money.
Teachers are having to pay for their own supplies. It's
absurd.
Again, because you're talking about a profession that doesn't monetize
No,
itself.
but
They produce the most important commodity of all jobs in the United States. What are they producing? Our future. And we undervalue that as a
state
society.
tests suck. Our whole education system.
Our
is a
education,
disaster.
we're supposed to be one of the most powerful and dominant countries in the world. Our education is ranked 37th.
We're not teaching them how to spend money. We're not. Elementary school kids are doing gym once a week. It's
broken.
ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. My final take today is on Evan Mobley and how I'm begging Cleveland sports fans to appreciate this guy, and here's why. We spent a good portion of the show talking about him today. You're never going to read about Evan Mobley getting arrested for breaking the law. You're never going to see him throw the middle finger at a fan. You're never going to see him lose his cool and go into the stands. He's not going to be that guy. We have been blessed here in Cleveland to have guys like our guest from the last segment, Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas is not just an all-world player. Joe Thomas is an all-world human being. He is a guy that every parent of every young sports fan in the country can point to and say, be like him. Follow his path. You heard him talk about his loyalty. He could have chased the money. He could have gone elsewhere. He didn't. Why? Because Joe Thomas is about loyalty. And I think we can all agree that's a pretty good characteristic to build your brand around. Evan Mobley is that dude. He is that guy. I expect that he will stay here throughout his career. I could be wrong. Maybe he'll chase the money down the road. But I think in Evan Mobley, Cleveland has a guy that we better appreciate while we have him, and we better show him the love, because when he does have the opportunity to leave, that love that kept Joe Thomas here from you to him might have a lot to do with keeping Evan Mobley in town. He's a phenomenal young player. I think he's an even better human being. And he's somebody that parents can feel comfortable in saying, be like Evan. He just bought his mom a new car for Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of athletes do that, but it's just the way he carries himself. He's a pro's pro. We're lucky to have him, and we got to make sure we do everything in our power to make it impossible for him to walk away from the greatest sports city in the country.
We've talked about Jose Ramirez this week and how
lucky
great a superstar
he
is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And same thing, Mobley. And I think Garland's the same type of guy.
Yep.
Absolutely.
He has said,
Yeah.
I want to be here. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. Time may change that. But we had one of ours willingly leave twice.
Right.
That hurts.
Yeah.
That hurts. And that's why a lot of folks are saying, no, I'm good. I've been burned before. I've been burned twice. We don't need that anymore. And wherever you stand on LeBron coming back or not, that's a separate topic. But when we get outsiders like Joe Thomas and Jose Ramirez to come to our cities and say, I love being here. I could have made more money elsewhere. Joe could have had a better deal. Jose, same thing. They decided to stay where their hearts were, and that's a testament to you, the fan. We made it too hard for them to leave.
Right.
Let's do the same thing with Evan Mobley.
Absolutely.
Guys, great job. Good hump day.
Yes.
I think we had a lot accomplished today. Mikey McNuggets, I think we're really entrenched there. We're going to have a vote next week. Joe Thomas used it. How do we not use it forever?
Right.
I think it's over. I think you have once Joe Thomas uses the
I think so
nickname,
too.
you
Do we
can't really, I think we should
So
not even
no
do a
vote?
poll. I don't think so.
It's up to you, Mikey McNuggets.
Joe Thomas, an elite guest, but we love our audience. We got
let them
to
decide.
get the audience
All right.
boost involved, so
We're a
we'll
democracy.
still have the poll.
All right, fair enough.
All right, we will vote. We're out of time. We went overtime today. This is all bonus
3 straight
show.
days.
It's all bonus show. Don't forget, you can wherever you get your podcasts, you can hear the Ultimate Sports Show, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show daily. Make sure you go to our YouTube page, subscribe, like, hit the notifications, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. For some, it is bright and early. 11 a.m. Our Thursday show is going to be jumping. We will see you then. We love you, Cleveland. See you tomorrow.